to the third and final day of the online 30th anniversary party. We hope you enjoyed it so far. But Lou, what would you say your favourite classic moment has been?
I think every year it's the sight of the Group C cars heading out on track into the sunset whilst the hot air balloons are rising up into the air. I just think it's really evocative. It sends tingles down my spine every time. I love it. What about you?
I think for me, I'm so lucky because I see over the years so many of the types of cars that I raced in throughout my career. But one weekend I had my three sons with me, and the Ensign that I raced in my very brief Grand Prix career was there, and I had my photo taken with my three sons and my Ensign Grand Prix car. That was a pretty special moment.
That's like a special moment. Well, today, as we wrap things up, we look at some of the celebratory moments that have been important to us all, as well as a couple more fabulous races. And we start with an under 2-litre touring car race from 2011, which featured a closely fought battle for the win involving Simon Hatfield, who we heard from on Friday. Hope you enjoy it.
Now, this is going to be a 50-minute race, and there is a mandatory pit stop whether the drivers are going solo, or in the majority of cases they do have a second driver in the car. And it has to happen, the pit stop for this race, between the 20th and the 40th minute. Between the 20th and the 40th minute. And if it's a single driver, the driver has to get out of the car, run round it, and wait 8 seconds before getting back into the car and carrying on with the race. For each of the pit stop races, there's going to be a different procedure. So this is the procedure for this race. As I say, it's a 50-minute race, and it's between the 20th and the 40th minute that the pit stop window happens. And if it's a driver change, then they just do it as quickly as they can and get on with it. If it's a single driver, then he has to get out of the car, run around the car, stand beside it, wait beside it for 8 seconds, somebody's timing that of course, gets back into the car and then carries on with the race. So that's the way it works for the under 2-litre touring cars. Russell, if you're with us, we are dependent upon you, I'm afraid, because nobody's fixing the fax machine. Sorry to go on about it, but it would help if somebody could come and fix the fax machine. We don't know who the start driver is. Russell? So, Russell, if you are with us.
Yes, I am. I am just back now, literally this second from the podium, and I understand you need start drivers.
Have you got the start drivers, Russell?
No, I haven't.
Oh, right.
No, I can go and try and get some.
If you could, please.
Yeah.
There should be a list in race admin.
Yeah, and I also play fax.
Yeah, so that'll help us know who the cars are setting off now on the first part of their formation lap.
Just while I'm on here, yes. Dennis Welch and our third place man Ben Sims both thought they were the other way round, third and fourth and third. You know what I mean? So a very interesting, very different go off.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm afraid I can't. From where I am, you just can't see who was ahead. But on the timing screen, that's the way it emerged. Now, whether the timing screen tells us a different story from where they were over the line, but it depends where the line was. It was side-by-side stuff. It was a Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Massa type of situation. So the touring cars continue to make their way around the circuit. Yesterday, the circuit became slow as the session went on because a Lotus Cortina lost a lot of oil coming through Abbey, and that meant that from then onwards the session was on a much slower track because they all had to be much more circumspect coming through Abbey and going into Farm Curve. So that Jackie Oliver, having gone out first in the BMW that he shares with Richard Shaw, number 100, was able to sit back really, having done his very fast time to begin with, and nobody was able to challenge him really. There was hardly anybody able to go any quicker in the latter part of the session. I think I'm right in saying only one driver moved into the top 20 in the second part of the session because of the oil slick that was on the circuit. It was the John Young car that was responsible for the loss of the oil. So that slowed the circuit up. This morning it's damp in places. These cars run to period specification, what's called the FIA Appendix K for historic cars, and therefore they have to run to the standard specification. If there's a maroon helmet on the head of the driver in car number 100, as he goes past you, Neville, we know that's Jackie Oliver.
start drivers in front of me.
Oh, right. If you could go through them, we'd be very grateful.
Yeah, give me the number you want first.
Well, can you just do them in numerical order? Whatever order on the list. Is it in numerical order?
Numerical order, yes. Jackie Oliver is starting.
No, sorry, numerical order, number 1.
Yes, I'll do that, but your pole position is Jackie Oliver.
Right.
Number 1, Leo Voyazides.
Yeah, right.
Number 2, Tim Stanbridge.
Yeah.
Number 3, George Hjalgren.
Yeah.
Number 4, Joe Twyman.
Hang on, because we've now got the numbers all over the place. Number 4, Joe Twyman, yes.
Number 5, Gary Pearson.
Number 5, Gary Pearson, yeah.
6, Man Solo.
Yeah.
7, Rory Henderson.
Yeah.
Number 10, Andrew Hack.
Yeah.
Number 11, Rob Rapanga.
Hang on, we've got to find where he is now. Oh yes, there we are, Robert Panga. Yeah.
15, Peter Baldwin.
Yeah.
20, Martin Hunt.
Yeah.
23, Mark Owen.
Yeah.
36, Richard Dutton Solo.
Right.
38, Henk Isaacs.
Yeah.
41, Jasper Isaacs.
Yeah.
42, Richard Frankel.
Yeah.
43, Paul Hocking.
Yeah.
44, Michael Birch.
Yeah.
48, Franz Marshall Kavar is solo.
Sorry, just we've got to find where he is now. 48. Where's he in the programme? He's not in the right place. That's the trouble. We'll come back to him. 48 is who?
He's solo.
Who is it? Sorry.
Franz Marshall Kavar.
Right. Okay. Right. Keep going then.
49, Killian Koenig.
Yeah.
51, Alex Fioriani.
Yeah.
53, Jose Beltramelli is solo.
Yeah.
55, Roger Wills.
Yeah. Yep.
That's 56, Keith Padmore.
Yes.
60, Martin Hood.
Yeah.
64, Andrea Lazzari is solo.
Yeah.
67, Michael McInerney.
Yeah.
68, Roger Buxton.
Yeah.
70, Dion Kramer.
Yeah.
74, Jason Wright is solo.
Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. 75, Roger Barton.
Yeah.
77, Howard Redhouse.
Yeah.
79, Mark Jones.
On his own.
Mark Jones, then Dean Forward.
Oh, well, that's news. Right, we never knew about that one.
Right, no.
No, Dean Forward.
Dean Forward.
So it goes second. So it's Mark Jones first.
Mark Jones first, then
Yeah,
Dean
okay,
Forward,
right,
no, 79.
right, okay.
80, Simon Tate.
Sorry, Simon Tate, yes.
80, Simon Tate.
Yep.
82, Paul Poshiol.
The race starts when it starts. Go on, keep going.
Okay. 83, Andrew Newell.
I'm going to find one. 83, Andrew Newell. Yeah, Andy Newell. Yep.
84, Nick Savage.
Yeah.
85, John Bennett.
Yeah, the start's about to happen, but keep going, Russell, because we're not going to keep going.
Okay. 88, Arnie Berg.
Yeah.
89, Andrew Banks.
Right.
92, Withdrawn.
Right.
95, Herluf Jensen
Yeah.
solo.
Yeah.
97, Nick Naismith.
Yeah.
100, Jackie Oliver.
Yeah.
104, Graham Bryant.
Yeah.
108, John Truslove.
Just a bit. We've got to 106 next, and that was, you said, number 48, didn't you? 48, Franz van Marschall.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's 48 rather than 106. Okay, keep that on his own. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So 108 is the next one, is it?
John Truslove.
Right.
109, Nick Adams.
Yeah.
112, Dave Saunders.
Yeah.
116, Paul Chase Gardner.
Yeah.
119, Richard Poston solo.
Yeah.
126, Mark Halstead.
Yeah.
136, Mike Gardiner.
Yeah.
137, Martin Stroman.
Yeah.
138, Andrew Beaumont.
Yeah.
166, Lucas Hooley.
Yeah.
170, Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
179, Dominic Rochman is solo.
Yeah.
182, Withdrawn.
Yeah.
Reserves.
Yeah.
161, Jeffrey Letts.
Yeah.
111, John Clark.
Yeah.
127, Phil Burgess solo.
Yeah.
107, Roger Cope.
Yeah.
194, Max Girardo.
Yeah.
195, Desmond Smale is solo.
Wonderful. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Russell. Right, the cars are on the first lap, and they'll be coming back into your sight in a moment, Chris. They've left Neville. We've got a great sight of one of the BMWs there, but heading towards you for the first time. Who's out in front? The BMW of Jackie Oliver?
No, he lost the lead at the loop on the first lap, and it was a gutsy move from the Alfa Romeo of Fioriani and Fitzsimmons to barge his way through. So down to second place on that first lap has gone Jackie Oliver in the number 100 BMW. Third place to Leo Voyazides, who almost got through as well at the same time. Fourth, as they go through Beckett's, is Howard Redhouse. Also in the top 5, then we've got number 89, Andrew Banks, Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, so we've got an Alfa leading, then Alex Fioriani out in front. Now there might be a little bit of bias, Neville, keeping in here from time to time, but an Alfa's out in front. You prepared for that, are you?
I am prepared.
Yes, okay, well it's the Alfa that leads, Alex Fioriani coming down to Stoke Corner for the first time. Battle between the Lotus Cortinas going on there between number 1, that's Leo Voyazides, and number 77, Howard Redhouse. Of course, he's going to be handing over to Mike Jordan, the British touring car and British GT star. So they're coming towards the end of the first lap. This is, remember, a 50-minute race, 20 minutes before the pit stop window opens, so they're going to be at it for 20 minutes before they can think about pit stopping. And so it's the Alfa that's out in front as they come up to the end of lap 1, but right behind it, Jackie Oliver, 2 cars using, and Jackie Oliver almost lost the whole plot there as he came out of, we'll ask him about that afterwards. He got the car straightened out again, but it's given Alex Fioriani a little bit of breathing space as they come through Abbey at the start of the second lap. Jackie Oliver there in the BMW second place, and side by side, nearly nose to tail, but nearly side by side of the 2 Lotus Cortinas in 3rd and 4th places. Number 1, Leo Voyazides, and Howard Redhouse, number 77. Then in 5th place is number 89, Andy Banks with his Alfa Romeo Giulia. Back with you then, Chris, for the second time. And they're all over the place down at Club Corner. 2 Lotus Cortinas there, one of them number 136. Come back to you in a moment, Chris. Number 136 is Mike Gardner, having had a spin at Club Corner, but he's rejoining, so it's one of the other Lotus Cortinas. They've probably gone past you. Who was in front when they went past you? Alex Fioriani in the Alfa Romeo.
He was indeed, yeah. Lots of chopping and changing just behind, though. So still in second place despite his moment is the BMW of Jackie Oliver. 3rd place to Leo Voyazides. Coming out on top of that squabble just behind Howard Redhouse, number 77 in the Ford Lotus Cortina. But it is mighty close. The top 6 are pretty bunched up as they come back towards you, Nev.
Well, I have to tell you that the Alfa has got a respectable lead this time, and he's pulled out about 25-30 yards on what, surprisingly enough, is a very, very close battle. Is it Jackie Oliver? Yes, just, but only just, holding on to 2nd place. And haunted by Cortinas, that's the correct way, haunted by them, with the number 1 car, Voyazides, really close to him and pushing very, very well. Howard Redhouse really going well too. Haven't seen Howard racing for a long time, but he really hasn't lost anything of his attack as they go off towards Cops Corner.
And heading back towards you, that Alfa's lead is still looking pretty respectable there, Chris.
It is the battle, though, to watch is 3rd, because 3rd and 4th are pretty much nose to tail. Leo Voyazides coming under attack now from Howard Redhouse into the braking zone. So that's 3rd and 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th are tied together as well, with the number 89 Alfa of Andrew Banks just about fending off as they come out through Beckett's and work their way towards Chapel Kirk. It's still Leo Voyazides hanging on to 3rd place, but only just Ian.
Here they come down Hanger Straight there for the second time with the Alfa out in front, with Alex Fioriani, who's been in this race in past years and gone well with the Alfa, and David Fitzsimon's due to take that car over from him, so he turns into Stoke Corner. The BMW of Jackie Oliver still hanging on there in 2nd place. Then Leo Voyazides is going to be handing over to the very quick Simon Hadfield. Then we've got Howard Redhouse to hand over to due course Mike Jordan. Then we've got Andrew Banks with his brother. Then behind them we've got Dion Kramer, the next of the Alphas, number 17. Dion Kramer to hand over to his dad, the Lotus Cortina. In fact, Dion Kramer. Then we've got Richard Postin's BMW, number 119. Behind him we've got Arne Berg. He'll be handing over to John Hawkland, the Norwegian rally driving star. So as they come to the end of the 3rd lap, Alex Fioriani's lead over Jackie Oliver, still a respectable one, 2.5 seconds. In fact, he's getting away from Jackie Oliver. Jackie is kind of building up a battle of Lotus Cortinas behind him, followed by the very, very smart indeed. It may not be a red one, but the Andrew Banks Alfa, the Alphaholics car, looking very, very impressive indeed. And don't forget to watch the battle of the minis that goes on lower down the order. And we've got a battle for the lead, changing places.
Yeah, and going very, very wide coming out of Farm, and off the track was Howard Redhouse, number 77. So he has now dropped to 5th place. He's sandwiched there, trying to work his way back up through the order. So the top 3 stay unchanged, but up now into 4th place comes the 119 machine of Richard Postins, and just about is fending him off. Getting back into 5th place is Howard Redhouse, but he went extremely wide. He was probably a good 10 or 15 metres off the track, and actually did well to only lose 1 place.
But Neville, he's got the place back. He's got back ahead of Postins, hasn't he, Howard Redhouse?
Yes, he has, and this is a very, very determined attack. Redhouse seemingly just drove down the grass as if he was concrete. Didn't make any difference to him at all. He's up past the BMW, no question about that. Postins can do not much about that. And he looks to me, I mean, look at the gaps between them. There's only about 4 seconds separating the first 5 cars, and that's very, very close, because you can lose it so easily on this. But huge battles going on up and down the field. This is really another exciting saloon car race. I wish we'd got so many different looking saloons that we've got here. It's just lovely to seen so many Cortinas out there.
We've got a car that's spun into the pit wall coming out of Club. I can't from the distance make out what it is. It's white. It could be a Cortina therefore, but it's coming. It's it's a little Fiat. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Number 43. That's Paul Hocking, who I'm afraid has backed his. That's where the engine is in these cars as well. Backed into the pit wall coming out of Club. But meanwhile, back with you, Chris and Beckett.
Yeah, leader's already through that part of the course actually, and all that squabbling behind has really given a huge advantage already to Alex Furiani. Second and third pretty close together still, but coming back on the attack now after his moment is Howard Redhouse in fourth place.
So there's a change, I think, there. Is it Jackie Oliver dropping back? Yes, Howard Redhouse may have lost time early on this lap, but he's certainly finding his way back very effectively indeed. And so we've got Leo Boazidis up into second place, and up into third place now is the recovering Redhouse. Howard Redhouse up into third place. What are they going to be able to do about the Alpha that's out in front? Don't forget, although we've got a great scrap for third place, or second place, I mean, we've got the Alpha still significantly clear. They come through a yellow flag zone because of that Fiat that's in the pit wall. The driver's out of the car, I should say, so the Fiat's going no further than the Fiat Abarth. But Alex Furiani continuing to draw away from the fight behind, headed by Leo Boazidis in second place. In third place, Howard Redhouse getting back onto terms with Leo Boazidis. Jack Oliver in fourth place, and Andrew Banks there, the next of the Alphas, in fifth place, with Richard Postings in the BMW right behind him. Back with you then, Chris.
Yeah, tremendous battle going on for second place now. The number one currently over Boazidis. He's just about there, leaves the door slightly open on the way into the loop. But number 77, Howard Redhouse can't quite find a way through. He's also having to watch his back here because just behind him then you've got the BMW of Jackie Oliver. They're side by side and Oliver squeezes through as they go through entry corner. So back up to third place goes the number 100 BMW, and just ahead again of Howard Redhouse. Under the bridge they go back towards Europe Brooklands.
Yes, if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. Jack Oliver nipped back there just at the time I think that Redhouse was sort of making his effort, but Redhouse there locks a rear wheel, almost clips the tail of the BMW, but avoided doing it, thank goodness, otherwise that would have been an interesting accident. And still now has to try and find another way as they come out onto Lincoln. Is he going to tuck in now? That looks as if somebody missed a gear there.
Leo Boazidis slowed.
Yes, yeah, I think he missed a gear. He came out and I suspect he missed a gear. And Boazidis, it sounds all right. Whether it jumped out of gear, I don't know, but it didn't lose one. He lost about 4 places, just like that.
So you got Jackie Oliver back up into second place, then Howard Redhouse is the one right behind him, and Andrew Banks in the Alphas moving into fourth place. So the leader, well clear, heading back towards you, Chris, for the fourth time.
Yeah, it's just about the only one in the top 10 that's not having a scrap at the moment, the race leader. Second and third come through, and Howard Redhouse now very good through. Maggots on the brakes now into Beckett's, and he's right on the tail of Jackie Oliver. They turn left, they swing right. There's not really any room to squeeze through there, but if you can get a good run coming out of Chapel and onto the hang and go straight, there might be an opportunity to outbrake all the way down to Stoke Corner for second place.
So here they come then for second place. The Alpha still well clear, had a 4-second lead at the start of this fourth lap, comes into Stoke Corner. Second and third nose to tail, so Jack Oliver back into second place, but is he going to hang on to it? Because Redhouse dives down on the inside and takes the place. Jackie thought about turning in, decided against it, otherwise there'd be a clash of bodywork. So the Lotus Cortina of Howard Redhouse is now, I think, for the first time in the race, up into second place. Jackie Oliver down to third. So those two a little bit clear now of fourth place. Andrew Banks with his Alpha. There's the leading Alpha going through Club, coming to the end of its fourth lap. There again, side by side, Jack Oliver and Howard Redhouse, and a wonderful side of the Minis, side by side Cortinas coming down towards the Stoke Corner. Meanwhile, the leaders, Cortina was pulled off. It's not the leading Cortina, and we've got the safety car being deployed. That's why they've all slowed down. So I'm afraid Alex Furiani's large lead has been totally eroded because of the safety car having to be deployed. So I think this will be a chance to draw breath and to give you a rundown of what the order is. The Cortina, I'll tell you as it comes. This is not one of the leading Cortinas. It's a Cortina that was down the pack. It's number 64, and that's the car of Andrea Lazzari. And he can't find a way of getting out of this problem, which is he's on the outside of the track and he can't pull across because it was going past him on the right-hand side. So I think the race director decided, well, we better get things back under control. So it's a full course yellow behind the safety car, and the order therefore is Alex Furiani leading. Now, a question that arises is how far away are we from the pit stop window? Remember, it's a 50-minute race, of which we have had just over 10 minutes, so we've still got 10 minutes before the pit stop window opens. It's between the 20th and the 40th minute, remember, the pit stop window is going to get very, very busy in the pits. And of course, the pits we're talking about are the ones, the old pits, as it were, the national pits, out of Woodford. So that's where they're coming into the pits, even though the start line and the finish line is the new start and finish line at the edge of the club corner. So Alex Fioriani leads in number 51 Alfa Romeo, second is 77 Howard Redhouse and Lotus Cortina, third is Jackie Oliver in the BMW number 100. So we've got one of each of the three principal marks that race in the Touring Car Championship in the first three places. There on the screen you can see the Cortina. That's not the cause of the problem, not the cause of the safety cars, the other cars that have gone off around the circuit. In fourth place is Andrew Banks in the number 89. In the number 89 Alfa Romeo. Fifth place number 70 Dion Kramer's Lotus Cortina. In sixth place number 1 after there's certain other things missing a gear, Leo Borzini is down to sixth place having been second. In seventh place is number 119 Richard Posted. In eighth place number 88 Arne Berg Lotus Cortina. In ninth place number 53, that's Jose Beltramelli, who's going all the way through on his own with of course a pit stop. He's in ninth place. In 10th place is the Gary Pearson Lotus Cortina, number 5, surprisingly far down for Gary in 10th place. In 11th place is number 60, that's the Martin Hood Graham Wilson Lotus Cortina, with Martin Hood at the wheel of it at the moment. In 12th place, number 109, moving up the order there, Nick Adams, showing a BMW with Robin Ward. Nick Adams in 12th place. In 13th place, number 161 is the Let's Race Lotus Cortina with Jeffrey Letts at the wheel of it at the moment. Then we've got the first of the minis, and that's the very quick Andrew Hack in car number 10. In 14th place, Andrew Hack, well clear of any other mini. Right behind him are four larger cars, the first of which is number 179. That is the Dominic Rochman Alfa Romeo Julius Smith GTA, his full title there. So Rochman in 15th place. In 16th place is number 80. That's the Alfa Romeo Julius Smith GTA, again, the full title there, Simon Tate. Behind Simon Tate, we've got number 6, Henry Mans, Lotus Cortina. Then we've got a car that spun early on in the race. That's Mike Gardner's Lotus Cortina, 136. In 19th place and 20th place are the next two minis. Number 4, the car of Joe Twyman, and behind him, number 55, in fact, is the driver that Joe Twyman normally shares cars with, Roger Wills. Roger Wills with his mini that he's going to be handing over to Paul Radisich when the pit stop window opens. So those are the top 20. And as I said, the pit stop window will be opening after we're 20 minutes into the race. So we have something like, we've got 35 minutes to go. And the safety car will be pulling in at the end of this lap. And we'll be racing once more. And of course now it's pulled off by the pits. New pits, and so Alex Fioriani having to defend his lead and make that little Alfa a wide car as they come up towards Abbey on the restart, and it's Alex Fioriani just holding off Howard Redhouse. Behind Howard Redhouse, Jack Oliver is still third. Andrew Banks is fourth, being challenged there on the inside by the Cortina number 70 of Dion Kramer. And so as they come back towards you, Chris, what's happening for the lead?
Well, Howard Redhouse is still in second place, but he's trying everything on the way through Village into the loop now, but the race-leading Alfa has the line there, doesn't make a mistake, so Alex Fioriani will hold the lead, and in fact he gets a good run into Aintree now, and out of Aintree, the race leader begins to stretch his legs again. Jack Oliver still third, Andrew Hampton in fourth place, then in fifth position it's the number 70 Dion Kramer Lotus Cortina. As they go towards you at Brooklands then once again, it looks already as if the race leader's pulling away again now.
Yeah, if he can get away, that's going to be half the battle. There's Reggie Bader. He's got again about 25-30 yards, hangs the tail out of it. Howard Redhouse behind him, can't do much about it. He in turn has got about 20 yards, I suppose, on the pursuing battle, which has still got Jackie Oliver there. And we've got another thing to load with those wretched Italian cars coming up here.
Sorry, what are you talking about, Neville?
Those wretched Italian
No such
cars.
thing.
Yes, there is one coming up there. It's the Banks car. And that is looking to me as if it's going to displace Jackie Oliver any minute.
Well, Nick Naismith have just shot off, putting off the circuit, and we had one of the Alpha TI saloons almost losing it coming out of club just then. But meanwhile, on the screen, you can see another of those delectable Alfa Romeos. It's number 179, Dominic Rochman's car, the one with the yellow stripe down the side. But what about the leaders with you? I think Fioriani's getting away again, isn't he?
Well, it's the battle for fourth, actually, that is to watch, because Dion Kramer has just got through into fourth place. And it looks to be as though Leo Boisoides has lost another position as well, I think possibly to Andrew Banks. So Leo Boisoides getting a sloppy run coming out of Cops Corner and losing 2 places now. So after a good start to the race, things seem go from bad to worse for him.
No, in fact, Leo was behind them because of that mistake that he made, misgear, whatever it was, going past Neville before the safety car. So Leo was actually gaining places rather than losing. He's getting another place now, going through on the inside of Andrew Banks, and they're going to Stoke Corner. They're side by side. The Alfa as the Lotus Cortina, and the Cortina, I think, is going through. Yes, it is. So Leo Boazidis, as Stoke Corner gets a place back, one of the places he's lost before the safety car. So Leo Boazidis now up into 5th place. Dion Kramer having already got ahead of Andrew Banks, but out in front, I think that Alex Fioriani is not a large, he's getting nothing like the lead that he had of 4 seconds, but he is now pulling away gradually from Howard Redhouse in the Cortina. So the Alfa still leads, coming through Abbey for the 7th time. Howard Redhouse is second. Quicker through Abbey that time, gets right up behind the Alfa as the 2 cars go into Farm Curve, so it's nose to tail for the lead, back towards you, Chris, for the 7th time.
Yellow flags on the way to Village, but it will be back to greens on the way into the loop. It is still the Alfa just ahead now, but Howard Redhouse pressing hard. Watch as well for the number 100 car, Jackie Oliver in 3rd place. That's as the 2 leaders battle away with lights ablaze. Seems to be hanging on to that pack. The 4th place car then of Dion Kramer goes through. Leo Voizides next in 5th. I think what happened with Leo is he had a lunge at the inside into Cops Corner, got from 6th to 4th, but ran wide on the exit, dropped back to 6th, and then got the 2 positions back on the Hanger straight. So he's on an eventful restart, and he looks to be going strongly in 5th.
In a straight line, the Alfa definitely is the quicker of the 2 cars, and pulls out, pulls out quite a bit more lead as they come into Duffield and coming out now towards Woodcote. And it's only when you get over through Beckett that I think you see that gap beginning to close down a little bit. That's the game to get down the Hanger straight, so it goes on. These cars fairly well matched, but I think the Alfa is really the quicker of the 2.
Well, I think it's down to Alex Fioriani's driving, isn't it? Because the other Alfas, he's doing a great job here. Somebody said something about a flapping bonnet on the Leo Boazidis car. I think it's flopping around a little bit. I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. He's going to be able to carry on to the pit stop. And remember what the pit stop is. The pit stop window, we're getting closer and closer to. Alex Fioriani out in front. We had a shot there of the yellow and green Lotus Cortina of Carlos Monteverde, which Gary Pearson is driving at the moment. The car painted in the colours of Brazil, of course. Unfamiliar colours for Lotus Cortina, owned by the Brazilian Carlos Monteverde, but currently Gary Pearson working his way up the order, actually, after starting, I think I'm right in saying, well, he started on the 11th row, but Gary into the top 10 now in the Lotus Cortina. There's a yellow Alfa Romeo, a very, very smart one, that. They all look smart, but this is particularly smart. That's the Andy Newell Ross Warburton car. Andy Newell is a bit at the moment, car number 83, which is in 17th place. There's the fight between the Cortina number 1 of Leo Boazidis. He's got ahead of Dion Kramer. So that's another place pulled back. His next target will be Jackie Oliver's BMW in 3rd place as the cars go through Vale, coming towards the end of lap 7. So Alex Fioriani leads. From in 2nd place, Howard Redhouse. And there's a bit of a daylight between those 2, and then an even larger amount of daylight between the next 2 cars who are side by side as they go over the start-finish line. It's Jackie Oliver still just with his nose ahead of the BMW of Leo Boazidis, but the Leo Boazidis Cortina goes ahead, and so does the next Cortina. That's Dion Kramer gets ahead of Jackie Oliver as well, so Jackie Oliver drops back in the space of about 100 metres, 2 place, and Gary Pearson goes for the inside line there, coming into Abbey of Arne Berg, but Arne Berg wasn't about to give way, so door handle stuff there, a little bit lower down the top 10. Gary Pearson and Arne Berg contesting 7th place there as they came into Abbey that time. Leaders back with you then, Chris.
Yeah, and gaining a place back on the way into the loop is Jackie Oliver. The door was really left open for him by the number 70 machine, which I think has got a problem because he loses another place to Andrew Hacks, and number 70 Dion Kramer losing 2 places going through the loop. And again, whether possibly he missed a gear, but it looks to be okay going up the straight now towards Brooklands, but he just lost 2 places and was very wide there, and I think the place gifted then back to Jackie Oliver.
Yeah, well, we've got this battle. Oliver certainly has fallen back a bit, but I'm interested to see if anybody peels off towards the pits. No, nothing from the top 3. I did have 1 car going there, but I think it probably was a journey for other purposes because it wasn't going very well.
Yeah, I reckon the pit stop window is now open, Neville, so you're right, you could expect to see cars coming to the pits, but at the moment that's not happening.
Yeah, here's a really one. It's one of the BMWs. I think it's 119.
Richard Poston.
Yes.
He's a soloist, so he's got nobody to hand over to, but he's still got to get out of the car, run round it, stand by it for 8 seconds, then get back in and carry on racing. So we're going to get a very shuffled order shortly, but just to confirm, well, we can see what the battle is on the track. Headed by Alex Fioriani in the number 51 Alfa Romeo, from 77 Howard Redhouse, then Jackie Oliver, number 100 BMW. That was the order over the line, but it's probably different when they get to you, Chris. Not the first 2, but behind him.
No, it stands as is, so no problems there. The race leading gap has just gone out a bit, so Friani coming through the complex through Cox Corner seems to be a little bit quicker, but every time they get through the first part of the lap and in towards me here at Village of the Loop, that gap comes down again, so it's yo-yoing a little bit.
I think Gary Pearson might be out of the contest. That's very slow, it looks very sick.
Well, the yellow Cortina, yeah. Okay, so Gary, who got up into 8th place last time past us anyway, in the yellow and green Cortina, but we've got some fantastic racing going on all the way down the field. In fact, more Cortinas you can see on the screen coming down towards Stoke Corner. At the tail of that group is the Andy Newell Alfa Romeo, just ahead of it, 2 of the Cortinas. One of them is the number 6 car, Henry Mann, and with him also is number 80, Simon Tate. And we've got the leaders coming side by side into Abbey, and going into the lead there is Howard Redhouse. Alex Fioriani is fighting back, so Howard Redhouse has the lead for the first time. Coming towards you then, Chris, on lap 9.
Not for long though, because Friani fights back on the way to Village Corner. Back down the inside he goes, and the Alpha gets back into the lead of the race. It's definitely the end of the lap, or the start of the lap. That section, that first and last sectors where Redhouse is a little bit quicker, but from here up the Wellington Straight, through Brooklands, through Luffield and Woodcote, that is where the Alpha pulls back away. And with that little scrap, Leo Voyazides has really got onto the tail of this group now as they head up to the bridge at the top of the Wellington Straight and into Brooklands there. You'll see the top 3 now together.
Side by side for second place between the 2 Cortinas, but out in front once more is the Alfa Neville.
Yes, I'm looking for him to come into sight. The one Gary Power yellow Cortina has definitely retired. And now let's see if any of the 3 leaders peel off this time. I would never be surprised if they do. But the Alpha certainly isn't going to, and neither of the 2 Cortinas. So that's the first 3 stay the same. 4th man stays the same. That's Oliver. Headlights ablaze, in fact. Beg your pardon, it's not at all. It's once again in front there. It's Banks who's ahead of Oliver still, and Oliver's put his lights on in the hope of perhaps putting him off a little bit. But none of the leading pack have made their stop.
I think they'll have to next time around, because we're getting towards the end of the window if we're not careful. We're certainly into the middle of it, and nobody yet making a pit stop.
Yep.
So
more coming in
leader into Maggots, then Chris.
Yeah, and it is Friani still with the lead of the race. Voyazides having taken that second place away from Redhouse. 4th, 5th and 6th are absolutely nose to tail as well as they come into Beckett's. At the head of that group is Andrew Banks, but he's under enormous pressure from Jackie Oliver and the resurgent Dion Kramer, having lost a couple of places 2 or 3 laps ago. He's now back in the mix as well.
Yeah, fantastic battle going on. Jack, I'm sure we saw it. We had a close-up view of Jackie Oliver there with an open face helmet. I'm sure he had a big grin on his face, but he's lost out to Dion Kramer there as well. So he's lost out to Andrew Banks and Dion Kramer on this lap. So Jackie Oliver from 4th to 6th, but trying to get a place back as they go to Stoke Corner. Out in front, Alex Fioriani continues to lead the way with the Alpha most of the time. He did briefly lose the lead on this 9th lap, but he has got it back. No, he's lost it again. So once more, as the cars, we've got a Lotus Cortina and an Alpha about to be a red Mini as it comes into my sight now. They're the 2 about to be lapped. Alex Fioriani flashing his lights at the 2 slower cars. One's an Alpha, one's a Mini, as they go through Abbey, and then Leo Voyazides ahead of Howard Redhouse. So Voyazides is 2nd, 3rd is Howard Redhouse. Alex Fioriani still out in front. They're coming up to the back markers and into your sight once more, Chris.
Yeah, and just behind Andrew Hack goes very, very wide coming out of Farm. He's got the inside line on the way into Village Corner. This battle for 4th place is just about fighting to hang on to it, isn't he, with his... now we got the blue flags for the leaders as they come out through Aintree, and it is still going to be Friani that leads. In fact, he extends away, so probably the battle for 2nd place is the one to watch here, because number 77, Howard Redhouse, gets a great run coming out of Aintree. He's right onto the tail now of Leo Voyazides up the Wellington Straight.
Down the Wellington Straight they go then towards Brooklands and back into the side of Neville Hay, and it's just Leo Voyazides in 2nd place with a Mini just ahead of him about to be lapped.
Yeah, I think he's going to be on the pit stops. I think if the pit stops go well, he'll be okay, but otherwise you're going to have a problem. It's still the Alpha. The Alpha leaving Howard tucked up behind the Mini. Howard heading for the pits. Definitely, this is the stop for Howard. Howard coming in now thinks that this is the way to do it. Or is it? No, it's Voyazides. I thought it was Howard Redhouse, but it's Voyazides.
So Leo Voyazides in the pit stand over to Simon Hadfield, and Alex Fioriani carries on. Then in 2nd place is 77 Howard Redhouse, still there. Then there's a white Alpha that's been lapped, a red Mini that's been lapped. Jackie Oliver carries on for another lap. So into the pits has come Leo Voyazides to hand over to Simon Hadfield. Now, you'll have to bear with us. We'll do the best we can to keep abreast of the order, but the order's going to be chopping and changing a fair amount over the next 10 minutes. We've got 23 minutes of the race time left, and you've got the leaders, Chris.
Yeah, Friana goes through, extending his advantage through the back markers here. So he pulling away now from number 77, Howard Redhouse, who of course had dropped back because he was in that scrap with Leo Voisidis before Leo went into the pits. Then you've still got in 4th place Andrew Banks, the number 89 Alpha, fending off the 100 car of Jackie Oliver. The other one's really gone well from the 13th row of the grid, the mini of number 10 Andrew Hack, now threatening to get himself a top 10 finish here.
We've got a Cortina. Apparently he's just opened the door, so I can't tell you which one it is. All Cortinas, nearly all Cortinas are the same colour, but we've got a Cortina that's come to a halt on the Exeter Club corner. But just about to tell you the number, he opened the door. There's a Mini that has come to a halt. That's the number 11.
And that can bring the pace car out again, Ian.
It could do, right, but the leaders are coming through. And of course their pit stop is halfway around this lap. They could, if it is going to be a pace car situation, he's pushed the car, that Lucas Cortina to the side of the track, as you can see on the screen. The leaders coming through very quickly there. Alex Fioriani clipping the curb, being pursued still by Howard Redhouse in the number 77 car. 3rd place Jackie Oliver, 4th in Dion Kramer, number 70. He'll stay right out to the end of the window because his dad can't be on nothing like as quick as Dion is. And then we've got in 5th place is number 60 now, so up into 6th places, that's Martin Hood's Lucas Cortina. And then we've got Beltramelli, Jose Beltramelli. Behind him is Rochman with his Alpha. Then Nick Adams up into 8th place now with the number 109 BMW. In 9th place is 83, and in the yellow Alpha. And in 10th place, number 36 going solo, number 36 Richard Dutton. So those are the top 10, but that's kind of academic because the order's going to shuffle around. But you've got the leaders back with you, or possibly past you now, Chris, on lap 11.
Yeah, the gap has come down, I reckon, quite a bit as they come back towards you now. Number 51, the race leader Friana, I reckon he's only a second or so clear now of the number 77 Howard Redhouse, Cortina.
No more, definitely. Just literally about a second. They must surely be considering their stop. Now, yes, I had got it right this time. Definitely the Cortina comes in, and definitely the Alpha goes on. So Redhouse does go in this time.
Okay, so Howard Redhouse to hand over to Mike Jordan, and the leading car with a pit stop under its belt is the number 1 Cortina, which is in 13th place. You can see it on the screen with that bonnet slightly cocked up at the front. Number 1 Simon Hadfield at the wheel now, and that car, as I say, is in 13th place, 55 seconds behind the leader. But of course the leader and many other cars have yet to make their pit stops. And you should have the leading car, the Alpha, back past you, Chris, on lap 11.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on the progress of those from the leading group that have pitted as well. And up at Brooklands now is Simon Hatfield with the number 1 car, just to give you a perspective of where he might come out. And Andrew Banks, number 89, the Alpha Alpha, is just up at Brooklands now. So those two might have been a smart move to pit early because there was a lot of traffic coming up to them. If they get a good clear 1 or 2 laps now, it might just put them up the order a little bit.
We've got another car that's come to a halt, another of the Cortinas. I think there's various spare Cortinas around the place to thwart the intentions of the Alpha, because another Cortina coming very slowly up past the pits towards Abbey. It's a white flag job this, it's still moving but very, very slowly up towards Abbey. There on the screen you can see the leading pit stopper. That's not the leading car, it's number 1 now in the hands of Simon Hadfield. And the slow car, it's the same one again, why didn't he give up? It's number 64, which is the car of Andrea Lazzari. That's the trouble with putting an Italian in a British car, you better have the European Alpha, obviously. So the leading car has gone through. Alex Fioriani leading Jackie Oliver now, of course, with, as Neville told us, number 77 having made his pit stop. We'll pick up where he is in relation to number 1 coming into Stoke Corner now. So number 1 Simon Hadfield, 77 now Mike Jordan. Presumably Chris has not yet gone past you.
No, here the leader is right in front of me now, so number 51 Alpha Friani goes through, and a nice clear track for him as well. Just grinding to a halt, or trickling along, is the number 64 Ford Lotus Cortina.
Have you not had 77 past you at Beckett's?
Beckett's, yes, sorry, that one's gone through. The other thing to note, Andrew Hack has lost a lot of ground during that pit stop because he's a long way behind now the number 1 car of Simon Hadfield. So either Simon's gained a lot of time there, or Andrew's lost a lot of time.
Right, I've got Simon Hadfield coming through Abbey now. There we see on the screen number 77, which is the other Cortina with the leading group that's made his pit stop. Now remember, those cars were together before they made their pit stops, and Mike Jordan now at the wheel of number 77, and I reckon he's a long way back. Let's just see what they were. Number 1 Simon Hadfield has gone through in 9th place, but 77 is ahead.
Yes, he is.
77 is well ahead. It's the other way round, isn't
Yeah,
it? So
I fancy him. I fancy Jordan. I think Jordan actually is probably going to be the man to beat.
Yeah, Mike Jordan then in 8th place, and number 1 Simon Hatfield in 9th place, and the gap between them 11 seconds. So they're on the screen with his distinctive helmet. They're in the pits. You can see Jackie Oliver in the pits, getting out of the car and handing over to Richard Shaw, who is as quick as the former Grand Prix driver and Le Mans winner, Jackie Oliver. So he walks away from the car. As back into the race goes Richard Shaw. Still to stop is Alex Fioriani. I suspect this is because he is a fair bit quicker than David Fitzsimons. And so when David Fitzsimons takes over, I think the Alpha's chances would have gone. And it's down to the Banks boys, who have made their pit stop. Not many pit stoppers remain to be made. And the 51 Alpha's yet to stop. Also yet to stop Dion Kramer. Also yet to stop number 179, who is a soloist. That's Dominic Rochman with his Alfa Romeo.
100, the stop for Jackie Oliver, and Richard Shaw was absolutely the quickest stop of any of the top by a long way. An incredibly quick stop for Jackie Oliver.
Well, those two have been racing together, that car, for a good few years now. They're past masters at the art of it. And so Mike Jordan, as Neville has been saying, I think Mike Jordan could prove to be, in that number 77 car with Howard Redhouse, the likely winner here.
Definitely, I think that's the man to keep an eye on, because it's a big car in the Howard.
And so that's very quick pit stop. We've got Richard Shaw side by side coming down into Stowe Corner, going round the outside of him. There's Mike Jordan, is it? Yes, number 77. So this is so Mike Jordan and Richard Shaw, they're together once more, the Lotus Cortina and the BMW, but now with the different drivers behind the wheel of the car. Remember, it was Howard Redhouse previously in 77. It's now Mike Jordan. Previously it was Jackie Oliver in the BMW, and now it's Richard Shaw. And Richard Shaw is as quick as Jackie Oliver in this car, so bouncing around like a threatening pit there as he comes through the final corner. He knows what the race is all about here. Richard Shaw, he's got the message. He's right up behind the Cortina as they go over the start-finish line. It's not yet the fight for the lead in this, but it's going to become the battle for the lead, because the only cars ahead of them have yet to make their pit stop. Here they go through Abbey, then onto lap 13. And so it is there. This is the fight, as I say, not yet for the lead, but there they come side by side as they come into the loop.
Yeah, there's not going to be a great deal to choose between them. They hit the brakes on the way into the right-hander at Village. It's still the number 77 car. It's Mike Jordan there, just in front, but the number 100 car, he's all over the back of it. Richard Shaw's BMW trying to squeeze through. Can't quite do it. Gets on the throttle as quickly as he can. Coming out of the loop, the back end of the car waggles around, but he can't do it. So Mike Jordan's got his nose in front in this battle, which could very well, as you say, become the battle for the lead as they go under the bridge now at Wellington Straight. It's Jordan about 1 car length clear of the number 100 of Richard Shaw.
Yeah, the BMW just a tiny little bit quicker, but closes the gap. It's about a car's length now. Richard Shaw really trying very hard. He would love to get on the inside of him as they come out, but it's not happening. The doors get closed. Will he have a go? Will he have a dive to the inside as they come out? No, in fact, the door kept very firmly closed. This is going to be a really, really interesting battle, particularly as there's back markers in the middle of it to sort out as well.
Alex Fioriani yet to stop. He's going to have to stop next time around. I reckon he's gone outside the window, Alex Fioriani, as has Dion Kramer, but we'll see. But they've yet to stop. You've got the fight, which we think is going to be for the lead, coming back towards you, Chris.
Yeah, just coming out of Cops Corner, and this is really going to be a feature in the second half of this race. A lot of traffic to deal with fairly shortly. Mike Jordan just on the run over the National Pit Straight through Cops Corner. It's just extended away a little bit. He's very assertive with one of the back markers on the way to Beckett's, because he knows he can't afford to sit behind one of the slower cars for even a corner, because on his tail will be Richard Shaw. But he did a good job there. Richard Shaw probably gets slightly delayed, and the gap as they go through Chapel and onto the Hanger Straight is opened up just a little bit.
So down the Hanger Straight they come. Alex Fioriani must stop surely this time. His lead over Mike Jordan at the start of this lap. Well, it's not actually coming up on the screen. Dion Kramer's second, number 70, and Simon Hadfield in number 1 is lapping quicker. Simon Hadfield in number 1 is lapping quicker than the Mike Jordan and Richard Shaw Cortina and BMW respectively. So at the moment, now that he's settled into the race, Simon Hatfield has become the quickest car on the track. There you see going through Club Corner the number 77 Cortina. There the BMW behind it, number 100. That's Mike Jordan, there's Richard Shaw, but in the background in the moment, there's Simon Hatfield, number 1, going pretty wide coming out of Club Corner, but he's in pursuit of those two. So Simon Hatfield, I think in the Leo was, yes, he's just done the fastest lap of the race. So Simon Hatfield, now that he's got warmed up and settled into the race, he goes through Abbey now, and Simon Hatfield absolutely on the limit, pushing harder and harder and harder. Here they come, Chris, and you've got Hatfield closing up on the two ahead of him.
Yeah, terrific dice this is, and even with different drivers in, it seems that you can't separate these cars in this leave battle. Viviani is up at Brooklands, probably up at Nuffield by now. He still leads the race, he still hasn't pitted. He's got a few minutes left to make that. He's pushing it right to the end of the window. The number 77 car then of Mike Jordan comes through. The 100 machine, the BMW of Richard Shaw next. And as you say, flying after the number 1, Simon Hadfield.
The Alpha's in the pits there, the Alpha in the pit, the leading car. David Fitzsimon's taking over from Alex Fioriani. We saw a Cortina without a wheel off. That was the car Mike Wrigley that had gone off at Cops Corner, or lost a wheel at Cops Corner. The number 82 car, Paul Potgell, started. Mike Wrigley took it over. So the Alpha makes its pit stop, and I think it's going to lose the lead in the process. There it goes back into the race. The yellow helmeted David Fitzsimons at the wheel, following I think Richard Dutton down the pit lane. He's only made his pit stop just now as well. Richard Dutton having come up into car number 36 up into 3rd place, staying out in the car. Well, he's carrying on without handing over to Neil Brown, who's not in the race. So we've got the new leader probably when they get to you, Chris, through Beckett's. Who's it going to be?
The Alpha's just out of the pit lane, but the two behind him are coming up. Chris, you've got it.
We can see on the screen there. We can see on the screen there, and they're coming up towards you. The Alpha's lost the lead. The lead is held by which one? The Cortina, I think, number 77 of Mike Jordan.
Yeah, Mike Jordan by a gnat, by about half a car length, and he's got traffic problems as well. He has to go around the outside on the way into the first part of Beckett. Following him closely through is Richard Shaw, and gluing himself to the tail of the race leader. But Mike Jordan did a good job there to stay ahead. Then in 3rd place, re-emerging in 3rd place, the former race-leading Alfa Romeo, now driven by David Fitzsimons. And of course, you've also got Simon Hadfield in the mix, the number 1 Ford Lotus Cortina.
So down they come towards Stowe Corner, and it is then the leading car, number 77, of Mike Jordan. But remember, Simon Hadfield, number 1, is catching them. So they're in 2nd place at the moment, is number 100. We'll see the situation unfold on the screen in a moment as they come across the start-finish line. Going through Vale at the moment, heading towards Club Corner. There in the lead, number 77, Mike Jordan. Behind him, number 100, is the BMW of Richard Shaw. Closing up on them, number 1, Simon Hatfield, set the fastest lap of the race last time through. They're going to have traffic all the way through to the end now, which is 11 minutes and a few seconds away. So through goes Mike Jordan. 2nd is Richard Shaw. 3rd, there's number 51, David Fitzsimons. Actually, the Alpha still in 3rd place, but they're about to be passed by Simon Hatfield as they come side by side for 3rd place. And the Lotus Cortina flashes past the Alpha, no problem at all. David Fitzsimons much slower than Alex Fioriani. I know it's his first step out, but this is why Alex stayed out as long as he could. But David Fitzsimons is going to drop down the order now. So it's a battle between a BMW and 2 Cortinas as they come back towards you for the 15th time now, Chris.
Yeah, Simon Hadfield, number 1 already, pulling 3 or 4 car lengths clear of the number 51 Alpha, the former race leading Alpha of David Fitzsimons, because he wants to get on with this and get up with the top 2 as they come now out of Aintree onto the Wellington straight. There's a bit of a breathing space though for Mike Jordan. He's probably got himself 3 car lengths clear to go towards Brooklands, but pretty soon now they're going to hit more traffic.
Yeah, Hadfield has, of course, the advantage of not having to keep one eye on the mirror. That's what's happening with the leading pair. But I think that the BMW is having a little bit more trouble with tyres than the He seems to slide about an awful lot more, and it might just now be being a bit difficult for him. Don't know, but it's just a guess. There's Moisés is still going well, but I still think that the battle is with Jordan. Hadfield, of course, very experienced in this car, and he is still looking. It's what, 5 seconds? 5 seconds between him and the leader to went past me.
Going back towards you then, Chris, on lap 50, we've got 9.5 minutes of the race remaining. 9.5 minutes to go. There on screen, Simon Hatfield in the number 1 Cortina, winner of this race last year.
From the pits, Neville is right on the money, but it's not tyres, Neville. It's a broken damper on the 100 that Jackie was fighting. Describes it like riding a horse. So extra respect for Richard Shaw with this battle that he's got.
That's why it's hopping around through the corners. I talked about it hopping like a flippy bit, and that's what the problem is. Thanks, Russell. A damper problem. So now they're on to Hanger Straight, a couple of minis to deal with. We haven't talked much about the minis because the battle for the lead has been so absorbing. It is now between Cortina, 2 Cortinas and the BMW. The BMW at the moment in 2nd place, working its way past those 2 red minis into Stowe Corner. And we've got 8 3/4 minutes to go. So Simon Hatfield, having kind of caught them up quite rapidly, now seems to have even eased off a little bit, doesn't he? He's not catching them quite at the same rate. He's still trying very hard, but he's not making the same progress as if the other two have settled into the race. But Mike Jordan now, against this slightly hobble there, opposite lock by Simon Hatfield as he goes through Club Corner, comes up to complete the lap. Let's see what the gaps are going to be. I'll give you them now. 15 laps completed, 1.7 seconds between Mike Jordan and Richard Shaw, 1.2 seconds between Richard Shaw and Simon Hatfield in third place, and minutes between them as well. Through Abbey Corner they go for the 16th time, and in fourth place is David Fitzsimons. He's got the Alpha there in fourth place, number 51, and he is going to be threatened, I think, next to the Alphas, which is in fact a long way back. So I think David Fitzsimons and Alex Fioriani look pretty good for fourth place, because the Banks Alpha, the Alphaholics car in fifth place, is a long way behind.
This has been a very good start to the lap for Simon Hatfield. I think you mean the last lap or so, he just didn't seem to make many inroads, but he definitely seems to be closer to Richard Shaw as they come through Village and the loop this time. Onto the straight they go. Not close enough to attack yet, but they've dispatched with those minis, and the top three all coming by around about 3 seconds now. Yeah,
but Hatfield had a little bit of a problem. He went wide, he got a couple of front wheels on the grass, and that didn't do him any good. Having to get rid of those little bit. He's still with the BMW, but having caught him is one thing, passing him is the second. Tries to tighten the line, coming out. Can he do it? Can he get up on the inside? No, not at the moment. He's going to sit there, he's going to sit on his tail, have a go perhaps under braking, and while all this is going on, the very smooth progress of Jordan is a joy to watch. Very, very clever, not using any more road than he's got to, not scrubbing off more speed than he has.
Looking on the inside, going into Copse Corner there with Simon Hatfield. He'll make a challenge, I think, coming into Maggots and Beckett. So as they come towards you, we've got the side-by-side for second place.
Coming out of Copse Corner and through Maggots, and around the outside goes Simon Hatfield, and he waves as he goes past as well. So Richard Shaw maybe knowing that the car is ailing a little bit, not fighting it too hard. He gave the number one car of Simon Hatfield just enough room, and that was a brave move, but it wasn't too hard, as I say, and already he's now pulled a couple of lengths clear. So the next question is, what can he do about Mike Jordan?
Absolutely, that's right. So this bucking BMW Bronco, really, that Richard Shaw's having to ride, heading down in third place towards Stoke Corner, and I think that he's not going to be caught by David Fitzsimons. I think David Fitzsimons in fourth place is not going to gain on the BMW, so it looks like a Cortina battle now. Can Simon Hatfield do something about Mike Jordan in the remaining 6 minutes we've got, and the leaders will be coming through to complete their 16th lap in just a moment, just under 6 minutes to go, and lights ablaze, as Neville's been saying about the very, very impressively smooth progress of Mike Jordan. Of course, for Richard Shaw, it's a battle to keep that car on the tarmac and through the corners at a reasonable pace, but as they go through Abbey then for the 17th time, we've got the second place car, Simon Hatfield, getting closer and closer to Mike Jordan as they come into your side then for the 17th time, Chris.
Yeah, on the brakes, and it's clearish at the moment for the race leaders. There's going to be a lot of traffic as well on the next lap. Trying to go around the outside, though. On the way into the loop is the number one car of Simon Hatfield. Can't find a way through. He almost goes off the road and into the cones because he was so far wide. Has to get on the brakes rather than the throttle. That costs him time on the run through Aintree. And again, he drops back about 3 car lengths behind Mike Jordan. Mike Jordan just sat pretty on the race line there. Thought, well, come around the outside if you want, but it's not going to happen. And he holds the lead of the race.
Into Brooklands, Neville, here they come.
Yes, put him on the grass, that was the sensible thing to do.
Absolutely.
And he was struggled back again. He has struggled back again. He's right on his tail, 3 wheels on his wagon, cocks up the front wheel, and now tries on the other side. As they come out comes the tail, snaps, corrected. That lost him just about a car's length. Have another go. Well, might be, might not.
One of Simon Hatfield's heroes is Jim Clark, and that was Jim Clark driving that, wasn't it?
Gorgeous,
fantastic
gorgeous
sight. Yes. So Simon Hatfield there, right on the tail of Mike Jordan. Mike using his touring car elbows there, isn't he? As he goes down past
on the inside. He's looking for the inside.
Yeah, doesn't get through. It's nearly side as they come out of the corner. They're nearly side by side. Here they come. It's just like the first race, the Formula Juniors. Here come the Cortina side by side into your side. Then, Chris.
Absolutely fantastic. 3/4 of an hour of racing, and there's nothing to separate the top two. But Mike Jordan has still got his nose in front, and with all this fighting as well, Richard Shaw is doing a brilliant job to hang on to the tail of it.
And Simon Hatfield dives through, doesn't he?
Yeah, just on the inside, but he goes wide on the exit to Beckett. Back around the outside into Chapel goes Mike Jordan. Well, he's used to all this from his touring car days, isn't he?
Well, I'm glad, yeah, absolutely. He knows how to look after himself in this sort of situation. And of course, as you say, Richard Shaw's got the BMW as they fight amongst themselves and hold each other up a little bit. Richard Shaw's back in the picture in the BMW. So as they come into Stoke Corner then for the 17th time, it is just still Mike Jordan. He briefly lost the lead, but he's got the lead back. His smoother style, though, I suggest, is what's helping him here, despite being one of those rough and tumble Tory car drivers. So Mike Jordan leads into Club Corner for the 17th time. We've got 3.5 minutes to go, so we're going to get 2 more laps, I think, out of this. So the lap they're about to start and 1 more after that. So Mike Jordan, can he hang on for another 2 laps? He goes very wide coming out of Club Corner. He goes so wide that he's almost passed on the inside as they come out of the corner and come up past the pits by Simon Hatfield, but he still has the place. So as they come in, and Simon Hatfield dives for the inside line as they go to Abbey, but he can't get through. So it is still just Mike Jordan in front. Simon Hatfield is there, and Richard Shaw watching and waiting to see what happens. We hear the 2 Cortinas. They're back with you, Chris.
They are absolutely on the limit as they come out of farm. They're on the curbs, they're locking brakes, and now a lock-up by the number 77 car of Jordan, and around the outside of him comes number 1 Simon Hatfield. That was a mistake on the way into Village because they were so quick coming out of farm, and now getting on the grass coming out of the loop is Simon Hatfield. So back into the lead goes Jordan. He puts 2 wheels on the curb, and watch Richard Shaw absolutely sideways as they get on the throttle. I tell you what, take a deep breath there because you're about to be attacked up at Brooklands.
Yes, this is going to end up in a crying match. I'm quite certain of it. But you've moved the start and finish up by Huey, and I still get a start and finish. Just moved it down there. We get 2 of them now. One at Woodstock and 1 down there.
Well, you've got Hatfield back in front.
Yes, Hatfield back in front. Basically, it isn't going to finish there. I'm quite certain of this. There's the BMW tucked on the tail there. Now, Hatfield now, for the first time, has got just that little bit of daylight and can, if he's clever, pick his line.
Yeah, as Chris described, he made that little mistake coming when he got the lead, coming out through Aintree, it was, onto the Wellington Straight. But now he's got, with that flapping bonnet, you can distinguish that car. Thanks to the flapping bonnet, it helps to sort out the 2 Cortinas. So coming through Cops Corner, just lapping the Alfa Giulia TI Saloon there, is the leading car. But I think Mike Jordan's coming back, and I think Chris has to come over the brow, back into your side.
It's going to be fantastic finish, this, isn't it? Simon Hatfield, Mike Jordan, and Richard Shaw is the order, but Mike Jordan is trying to create a gap on the way into Beckett's corner. There isn't one though, so he has to wait. I tell you what, if Richard Shaw wins this race, it'll be brilliant, won't it? Because he's not got the quickest car out there, as we all know, he's struggling.
Yeah.
But he's just gritting his teeth. He's waiting for an opportunity to arise, and who knows, with a lap and a bit to go, it might just happen.
I kind of felt sorry for that Alfa there. Couldn't get out of the way, could it? He was trying to. Jackie Oliver watching there to see how this is all panning out for his car in 3rd place. A minute to be lapped by the leader, number 1 Simon Hatfield leading. In 2nd place is Mike Jordan, and in 3rd place, where is he? Where's the BMW? There it is, Richard Shaw going through Stoke Corner then. 1 more lap to go after this one. We've got 50 seconds on the clock, but we've got time for 1 more lap. So through at the end of Vale into Club Corner go the number 1 car, winner last year Simon Hatfield, and Leo Rosides there. In 2nd place is Mike Jordan. He's not going to give up. What state are their tyres in there? In 3rd place is the BMW. On to the last lap they go, up past the wing, up towards Abbey for the final time. And it's the Cortina of Simon Hatfield. I think at last has begun to assert itself. He's coming up to lap another Cortina in a moment, so you'll see a Cortina number 70. That's the Gabriel Kramer car, which was a contender for the lead earlier on, but now it's dropped nearly a lap behind as they come towards you there for the final time. It's Simon Hatfield.
Yeah, I'm not sure the tyres are going to be in great condition at the end of this race, are they? What fantastic stuff. Simon Hatfield has actually got himself, wait for it, a bit of breathing space as they come into the loop this time. He's got a back marker in between himself and the number 77 car and Mike Jordan. Richard Shaw has just dropped off the pace a bit as well. So Simon Hatfield now comes out of Aintree. It's the number 70 Gabriel Kramer car, which is presenting the problems. That was a car that was in the top 6 earlier on, but it is going to be, when they come back to you now, a pretty mighty lead for Hatfield.
Yeah, I think he's got this one buttoned up now. The slower car sort of did it. That was really what finalised the whole thing. And he's now got sufficient lead, I reckon. Can't afford to make any mistakes, he can't afford to do anything stupid, but he has a better than even chance now of getting himself out there to the flag. It just means there's not another back marker, I think, also that's going to worry them. We'll see, but I don't think there is. And so it really is going to be a run to the flag. There's a lead now of around about 40-50 yards, and I'd say that's the way it's going to stay.
Yeah, so there's more Cortinas to confuse you, Chris, as it comes through Cops Corner. You've got 1 Cortina lapping another They look almost the same, except one's got a flapping bonnet. And Simon Hatfield's sort of waving at the car he's about to lap, saying, which way shall I go, mate? And he's gone through. Chris, he's coming towards you.
Yeah, just puts a couple of wheels on the curb at Maggotts, but he's got time to get through. He doesn't need to do anything too hasty, because for a change, he's not got Mike Jordan breathing down his neck. Oh, we got one of the back markers going straight on there with the Cortinas, and that creates a big smoke cloud for Mike Jordan to try and deal with. And again, he's got himself 2 or 3 or 4 car lengths lead now over the 3rd place car of Richard Shaw.
Yeah, I think it was number 136, wasn't it? Was that Phil Keane? No, 138 it was. Now Jerry Wainwright. That's unusual. There must be a problem with that car. So out in front then, getting away, just lapping the surviving Fiat Abarth. One's retired in the pit wall down here, but the other one's just being lapped again by number 1. So started by Leo Borzidis, finished by Simon Hatfield in fine and spectacular style. Coming through Vale for the final time is car number 1, winner last year, and coming through Club Corner, it's going to be a win in the U2TC race for Simon Hatfield and Leo Borzidis. He comes out of Club Corner now, waggles the tail of the car, waves out of the window, and for 2nd place, absolutely crossed up there, is Mike Jordan as he takes the flag to make sure, as he lapped the little Fiat Abarth, that he wasn't going to be caught again by Richard Shaw's BMW, but that car wouldn't have been a winner without that shock absorber problem. But nonetheless, the BMW does win its class, so in 3rd place, Richard Shaw and Jackie Oliver. In 4th place, the Alfa Romeo comes out of Club Corner to take 4th place. Led for much of the race in the hands of Alex Fioriani, had to settle for 4th place at the end once David Fitzsimons took the car over towards the end of the pit stop window. And then just to give you the rest of the runners, we've got in 5th place number 89, the Banks boys, in the Alphaholics Alpha number 89. Andrew Banks started, Max Banks finished. That car finished in 5th place. A good drive into 6th place, I think we're going to find in 6th place, number 179. That's Dominic Rochman with the Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint GTA. Yes, he takes the flag now in 6th place, car number 179. And the leading Mini, a long way down the order, but is he? Because he's got a bit of trailing trim in classic Mini tradition. But that's the number 10 car that is probably going to win his class, but he's not that far ahead on this last lap. We'll just keep an eye on that. Number 10 started by Andrew Hack, driven now by Daniel Wheeler, and 2nd place in the class is the Graham Churchill, now Peter Baldwin to begin with, Mini. That's car number 15. So there's number 10, Daniel Wheeler, 3-wheeling a Mini. That's pretty enterprising stuff, and they're not far behind it. So we've got a fight to the flag between the 2 leading Minis in their class, coming into the end of Vale. Just ahead of them and about to be lapped is the number 7 Mini. That's not the car that's contesting the class, it's the number 10 car. Number 7 is a lap down. Through goes Daniel Wheeler, 3-wheeler Daniel Wheeler, 3-wheeler Wheeler, and crossing the line just behind is Graham Churchill in the number 15 Cooper S, just behind Daniel Wheeler. Graham Churchill having taken over from Peter Baldwin, so those cars finishing in 18th and 19th places. And in period this sort of thing happened, that very sort of flimsy trim that Minis have around their wheel arches and underneath the door tended to come off in the heat of battle. Cortina's in the gravel, BMW's part of the side of the track. What a wonderful touring car race that was. That's the car, the 3-wheeling car, Paul Pochol and Mike Wrigley. And we may have a replay or two coming up here. So on screen we've got there as they come through to start the last lap, we have there in 2nd place 77 Mike Jordan. This is the beginning of the last lap now, and a chance to see how by that stage number 1 Simon Hatfield had been able to open up a bit of a gap. Let's just run down the rest of the order. We may get a chance to have a bit of a replay of aspects of that race, but we got as far as the Dominic Rochman, Alfa Romeo finishing in 6th place. In 7th place, Richard Postins, an early pit stopper to hand over to himself, as it were. Number 119, Richard Postins, took 7th place. In 8th place, we had number 136. Russell, chip in when you're ready. That's still Dean Togo from Mike Gardner. Russell?
Ian, just before we go to the podium, which is off air,
well, you went on there halfway through your previous podium. Or was it just after that? We heard you talking to them.
Right, okay, well that's news to me. Let me just see if I can grab it before they go.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Richard, Jackie, fabulous race, but I know the problem of the damper. Well, we got something not quite right at the front, some square tyres. We've got them, we're not bad in 3 or 4 corners and struggling in a couple, so we can work on the car. I think the Spark, we're going to be back with them, yeah.
Third place. Jackie, I've got you as well. Well done. Congratulations, both of you, riding that horse as you described it.
I love saloon car racing. It's great fun, great spectator sport.
Wonderful.
Inside the car as well.
We're going to a podium. Okay, Ian, thanks.
Right, so we just saw there Leo Boazidis and Simon Hatfield. On the right of the screen with his back to us is Simon Hatfield in the dark overalls. What a wonderful sight that makes as well. A glorious picture of E-Type Jaguars. But of course they're not touring cars. We're going to see a Jaguar E-Type Challenge race later on in the day. I was going to give you a rundown further of the order if I can. So before we do that, this is the, towards the end, this is the way in which Simon Hatfield got the lead. It was Mike Jordan, as Neville was saying, made very, very few mistakes, but he locked a wheel up at one point, and that's what gave Simon Hatfield his chance. This was an attempt to take the lead by Simon Hatfield, which didn't work. There it is, that's what happened. So, Mike locked a wheel, turning into Village, and that gave Simon the chance. Now, he didn't make it completely right. He goes wide coming out. Simon Hatfield goes wide coming out of the loop, and as they head into Aintree, Mike Jordan gets the lead back. That's Aintree they're going through. Richard Shaw gets right up behind the 2 Cortinas, and as they go on to Wellington Straight, they almost fan out level 3 abreast as they go down Wellington Straight. That was with a couple of laps to go, and heading down to Brooklands, Simon Hatfield was re-challenged on the inside line there by Mike Jordan. Again, Mike locked a wheel around the outside, stayed Simon Hatfield, and it was Simon then who, I think at that point, and Neville described it at the time, it was Simon who began to assert himself out in front. So I think they're watching that on the screen, but it was a brilliant battle. Leo Boazidis on the right of the screen there, and that was fantastic stuff to watch. Richard Shaw, where's Jackie Oliver got to? The podium drivers, we need also, we need, of course, Mike Jordan is there, yeah, you can see him with the glasses, and Howard Redhouse is there in the middle of the screen, and Russell Douglas is down there. Now we may be able to fade up what Russell is saying at the moment. We did have a chance to hear from the drivers in the Formula Junior race. So we've had 2 fantastic races to begin the weekend, and so onto the top of the podium.
In second place, after this incredible battle, the Lotus Cortina of Mike Jordan and Howard Redhouse. And the winner, and they really worked for it, Simon Hatfield, who finished the race, Leo Boazidis, who set it up in the Lotus Cortina. Let's have our garlands then for the winners, with their presentations, and in a moment we'll have a chance to speak to them all. I'm going to speak to our third-placed BMW pilots first, because we know they had a problem. What you saw out there was only half of it, with problems on the car.
There's nothing we enjoy more at the Classic than a good anniversary to celebrate. Over the years, there have been some incredible moments, from the Guinness World Record-breaking Jaguar E-Type parade in 2011 to the Ferrari F40 celebrations in 2012, the epic Porsche 911 parade in 2013, and another Guinness World Record for the McLarens in 2017. We know how much the car club community love this opportunity to have a parade on track too. Let's have a look back at some of these special classic moments.
And now out on the circuit itself, well, you can't miss them, can you? The number of Jaguar E-Types that are out there on track, a huge number of them, and I should imagine that Ian Titchmarsh is dribbling over his salmon sandwich at the moment over these cars, because really a fantastic collection of them. The idea being to, of course, get the grid completely full of them, and hopefully to achieve, I think is the plan, actually a Guinness World Record of these cars. So to see all the collection of them together, look at them as they gather, and I can tell you that these cars have literally come from all over the world. To be honest, they have managed to gather literally so many of them that there weren't enough in the UK, to be honest, to pull together, so they've had to pull together by bringing them from various parts of the world. And I'm talking to a guy yesterday who'd come over from New Zealand to make sure that he was here at this event with his E-Type Jaguar. You can see them stretching then away right round by the wing, the TV pictures that our cameras are picking up, which is fantastic to see. All of these cars, and I can tell you that you will not see anywhere so many cars, so many E-Type Jaguars on the same track together. Really magical, to be honest. There are some great E-Type Jaguar races that we've got here, of course, the magical E-Type, which is lovely to see. The biggest ever grid of racing E-Type Jaguars, really making a fantastic spectacle here. 2 of the weekend races we've got for the E-Type Challenge, including, of course, the race that will take place this evening. 68 cars have been registered for that series, which is lovely to see. And I know that when I was talking to Graham White of the HSCC, he was hoping to start a maximum grid of 58 cars here at Silverstone, but the whole of the weekend has got a real strong E-Type element to it. The event, of course, is the official E-Type 50th birthday celebration for the Jaguar clubs, and we've got about 700 road-going E-Types that are here on display and in the infield, and they are now on track on the Grand Prix circuit in what is a Guinness World Record parade. And as I say, many of these cars have come from all over the world. There was someone else that we spoke to, I think Diana Binks spoke to yesterday, had come from Mississippi. We'd got a car from Mexico. There was one from Malta. And I tell you what, how special is this to get an E-Type Jaguar that had come all the way from Moscow. The guy didn't speak great English, but he came all the way from Moscow to be here to make sure that he could be part of this very unique celebration. And I said to him, well, I guess that'll make a difference to you, won't it? You'll add the money to the value of your car. And he said, no, it doesn't matter. I just want to be here for this weekend. And little wonder, because look at the picture, look at this fantastic spectacle of these cars. They say over 700 of them on track. And I know the organisers were hoping to get ideally over 1,000, but they've got as many as they can get. And the entry list for the E-Type race is full as well of talented and determined racers. We've got Michael Quinn, actually, is one of the racers, and he's in this parade in one of the E-Types, and he is the grandson of the Jaguar co-founder Sir William Lyons, and he's raced quite regularly in classic Formula 3 cars and things. But he's now racing in a model that was masterminded by his late grandfather. That must be a real sort of tear-jerking moment, I should think, for him every time he gets into an E-Type Jaguar and races it. It would for me, to be honest. One of the pre-race favourites for the race itself is John Minshaw, who was probably, to be fair, I would think has been one of the most successful E-Type racers, certainly of the last decade. And he was telling us yesterday that he's been racing these cars for about 12 years now, and of all the cars that John Minshaw has raced, the E-Type Jaguar is still his favourite, and he says that he reckons he'll be very competitive. Gary Pearson, of course, is another one who's out there and racing. Gary is racing a number of cars this weekend, but again he's got a big challenge. He's also going to be up against his younger brother Jason. I suspect the two of them have been winding each other up mercilessly about what's going on, and a real family occasion it is as well.
My favourite Silverstone classic memory is a simple one, really, just the opportunity to see the E-Type Jaguar tearing around the track. I'm quite a keen photographer, so I was blown away to get this photo next to the pit lane last year. If there's a more beautiful machine than an E-Type Jaguar, I don't know what it is.
And it just is oozing red, isn't it? And what a sight there are. There's supposed to be about 70 of these F40s out there. If that's the case, we currently have around £35 million worth of very nice Italian motoring machinery out on track. The F40, Jallan Hyde talking to the guys earlier on, and I'm quite sure that we can't hear that, but Alan, as I say, spoke to the Ferrari guys about this, and they really were expecting quite a lot of people. And I have to say as well, you'll see on the side of some of these cars, there are flags from Italy, from Germany, and from other countries, because there is quite a European contingent, as well as the various British owners. The best part of £500,000 worth of motor car these cars are worth these days, and bearing in mind they're 25 years old, really still beautiful icons. I've walked past the Ferrari paddock now, right in the centre of the circuit, 3 or 4 times, and astounding the number of people that are still taking photos, still looking at them. The other thing that's really lovely is it's almost de rigueur, it seems, that you have to have the letter F and the number 4 and 0 in your number plate, because just about all of these cars seem to have F40 somewhere on the number plate, and they are just superb. They were built by the Ferrari factory, as you probably know, and I won't tell Granny to suck eggs here, but as you probably know, effectively a racing car for the road. And it is hard to believe that it was 25 years ago that this car first hit the streets, so to speak. And what a beautiful machine that it still is. The pace car at the front, which looks from here as though there's a pint of beer on the top, but I've realised it's now a camera. GoPro camera here. So I could sit here and be tedious and count for you, ladies and gentlemen, but if I was a farmer, you'd be able to count them in 4s, because that's how they count sheep, and it's a lot quicker. But I'm not, so I can't. Okay, apparently our director, our producer, our sound engineer, Tom, who's doing videotape, and our graphics team are all trying to, George is trying to count them as well. So we've got everybody trying to count them, and I've no doubt I'll get a text from the Radio Silverstone studio in a moment from one of the Clever Dicky girls going, "There's 72," or words to that effect. So up in the skies, still the real aeroplane company, bang on schedule. By the way, Clive Butler is flying the grey Jungmeister, and he's 53 years old. His day job is the MD of a window company. I don't know why when I first read that I thought he was a window cleaner, but he's not. He's the MD of a window company, and he does a lot of aerobatics and various things. He bought a Pitts Special, actually, G-Loop, which was the ex-Marlborough display aircraft in 2001, and started competition, so he really does know what he's doing with these Jungmeister. But we're sticking on the Ferraris at the moment, and then other car clubs coming out to follow, because we have anniversaries galore this weekend. Some really lovely dates that are quite significant, in all honesty, for this weekend here at Silverstone for the Classic. So it's not just the Ferraris that are celebrating, of course. And we did say that there would be the car club parade today, a massive parade. About 450 cars we should be getting on track, rare exotic machines, together of course with the cars that you will recognise a lot more of. And over 70 different car clubs are here this weekend, including some of them that are car clubs that are not associated directly with actual cars. So for example, the Amber Valley Classic Car Club. And we've got the Lambos going through, and then we've got some lovely, lovely Healeys as well, the Frog Eye Sprites. And you know, I was looking the other week at buying a Frog Eye Sprite, and surprisingly, they're about sort of £10,000 to £12,000. But I saw this one, it looked very nice condition for just about £6,500, and I was very, very tempted. And our director sort of is quite disparaging, apparently. If it doesn't have a 948cc engine, then it's not a Frog Eye Sprite. A guy called John Foden, who some of you may recall, used to work at Silverstone years ago, and he had an absolutely beautiful Frog Eye Sprite, and I don't know if he did sell it, but I think did sell it in the end, but it was beautiful and it was immaculate. And I remember a few years ago that was worth about £6,000. That was a long time ago. Now look at that. Is that not a sight for whatever's the opposite to sore eyes? Good eyes, maybe. But a lovely, lovely sight. Look, just terrific.
Hi, my name's Norman Swift, and my most memorable Silverstone Classic was the 2013 meeting. To celebrate the 50 years of the 911, the Porsche Club, in conjunction with Silverstone, tried to get 911 of the cars out of the circuit. They ended up with a world record beating 1208, and with my good friend Alan, fellow petrolhead, the parade lap we did on that day was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for making it so memorable, Silverstone, and thank you, Porsche Club. Thank you.
As part of the parade, we've got one or two very special people out there joining us today. The most important one is Mark Porsche, who in fact is the son of Ferdinand Alexander, or better known to us all as Butzi Porsche. Mark's come over from Germany to join in this parade and represent the factory, along with Sandra Meyer, who represents all of the clubs throughout the world. And in addition to that, we've got well-known Porsche personalities. We've got Derek Bell, of course, who... what more can we say about Derek and his career? Ian, you know, it's just something else, isn't it?
Well, a multiple Le Mans winner, of course, is in Porsches, principally, the greatest claim to fame. And they're coming out towards us now, Tony, so a massed array of Porsches stretching all the way down the international pit straight at the moment.
Absolutely. And we've had to start them from 4 places on the circuit, Ian, because there's just so many that to try and get them all out at once would be logistically a nightmare. So we've set them off from 4 areas. So as you see the cars coming around, you'll see them come around in different groups. And this particular group, I think, was setting off from the far side of the circuit from where we are. So in other words, the far side from the wing building. And they're just now starting to group in quite a big mass now.
Have you got some 1963 cars here? Have you got ones that go right back to the earliest?
We've got the very earliest in, right the way through to the very latest. In fact, we've got the very latest car here, the 991, which has only just been announced, and we are the second nation in the world to actually see this car. It was debuted in the States a few months ago, and now it's here.
This is the road-going version of what we had at the Grand Prix, because in the Porsche Super Cup, we have the 911, don't we?
Yeah, we have 911, but this is the 991.
Oh, 991, okay, yes. That's gone backwards from, they've got the 997.
Yes, that's right.
997. Okay, drivers come from Europe to be at this event?
Oh, yeah, they've come from all over the globe. We've even got people here from Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. That's just how much. I mean, these are people perhaps who have got an affiliation with the Porsche Club Great Britain, of course, but it's just stirred the imagination so much that, as you can tell, 911 was the target figure that we wanted, for obvious reasons, and we've been swamped as 1,200 plus.
There were several anniversaries being celebrated at the Silverstone Classic, including that of the incredible Jaguar XJ220, now remarkably 25 years old. This weekend, over 40 cars took to the track in a celebratory parade, at the head of which were all 3 entries from the 1993 Le Mans 24 Hours, back together for the first time.
David, you're about to be reunited with a car you won Le Mans in and then sort of didn't win Le Mans in, but still great memories. Sharing the podium with your brother who won overall that year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I think back in '93 when Jeff and I won Le Mans, it was a very special moment. My dad was there, it was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, obviously with the story with the 220, we got disqualified afterwards. We raced under appeal, and there was a bit of Tom Walkinshaw and the ACO battles going on. And we become the victim of it, and we didn't end up winning, but we did on track.
And how's the car to drive compared with like a proper Group C racing car?
Well, quite different. It's more like a sort of big GT1 car, really. I mean, when we first got it, the car was really loose to drive, which you would have loved. But they put the rear wing up, and that really sorted the car out. And in the race, we were up against Hans Stuck in a Porsche, and they actually crashed early on. So it kind of left us to lose the race. And we had a few problems during it, but we ended up at the end with the checkered flag first. You know, today is again getting back, looking at the switches, which is not many in these things compared to today. But yeah, no, it's good, it's good. I mean, when you see how many 220s have turned up here, I've never seen so many in one place. It's very cool.
may not have been room in the Le Mans cars, but guess who still managed to blag himself a drive in the parade? To mark what would have been Bruce McLaren's 80th birthday, there was a parade of the company's road cars. Indeed, the most ever gathered together in one place, a new Guinness World Record.
We heard from Ian on Friday about the epic Super Tourers race on Sunday in 2014 with the brilliant battle between Rob Huff and James Dodd. We've got the full race for you here.
And the grid, we can give it to you as they go round on a parade lap. It'll be a rolling start. On pole position is number 3, James Dodd, yesterday's winner, and alongside him is number 1, Stuart White. The two Honda drivers ran away with the race in effect yesterday. They were utterly dominant. Hopefully that Rob Huff actually will be able to get stuck in today. So 3 and 1 the front row. The second row, 98 John Cledden and 37 Simon Garrett, 98 and 37 row 2. The third row, number 2 Neil Smith and number 4 Graham Dodd in the Nissan, 2 and 4 row 3. The fourth row, number 10 Dan Wheeler's Nissan, the ex-Anthony Reid car, one of the ex-Anthony Reid cars, and number 79 the extra runner Mark Jones with his Renault Laguna. On the next row we have number 70 Dave Jarman in the ex-Matt Neal Nissan Primera, and number 47 driven today by John Young, but it was finished it finished yesterday in 10th place, driven by Steve Soper, of course, from an earlier era of touring car racing, not the 90s generation, which is all the cars ahead of him. Steve Soper, the best placed of the others, but John Young drives that car today, the Ford Cologne Capri, number 47. On the 6th row, we've got 63, Andy Wolf with the Opel Belmont, and alongside him is Rob Huff in the Ford Mondeo, number 68, which Richard Mines finished in 12th place with yesterday. On the next row, we have number 29, Jan Bott from the Netherlands with his BMW, and next to him, number 15, is Craig Davis with the Ford Sierra RS 500. 29 and 15, row 7. The 8th row, number 26, is Mark Hazel with the BMW E36, and he has next to him number 28, driven today by Gary Pearson. So in the Alpha 156, Gary making another appearance in a race today as the cars make their way down towards the Stowe corner. I say it's going to be a rolling start, and James Dodd and Stuart White won yesterday. The gap between the two Hondas and the third-placed Vauxhall veteran John Cleland was a rather enormous 25.9 seconds, so hopefully it won't be quite like that today. But I'm sure Rob, the one to watch, I think, is going to be Rob Huff in the Ford Mondeo that is starting on the 6th row of the grid. And the car's now coming into Club Corner. Stuart White in his ex-Tom Christensen car, James Dodd in an ex-James Thompson car. Two of them side by side as they come out of Club Corner and prepare to, still in good order at the moment until the lights on the gantry go out. Maintaining good order here. It's again a 20-minute race, the second of our Jet Super Touring Car Trophy races. And here we go, the Hondas running side by side. Rob Huff taking a run on the outside line. He's already into third place. Fantastic driving again. Rob is third. Rob Huff into third place as John Cleland gets out of shape, probably for the tap on the rear, but everybody was prepared for that and he straightened himself out. But Rob Huff in the Mondeo, third place already.
And trying to be second as he comes around the outside at Village. He's going to do it. He's going to go into second place. And terrific drive that from 12th on the grid, the 2012 World Touring Car Champion, showing what he's made of. He got that car second fastest in qualifying, so no surprise to see him coming through. He's got ahead of the number 1 car of Stuart White there, but the leader is James Dodd in the Honda, of course. It's Honda, Ford, Honda, the top 3 up at Brooklands.
Well, James Dodd has raced against John Cleland, but of course John is now a retired Touring Car Champion. Rob very much still a contestant in the World Touring Car Championship, driving for Lada these days, following the retirement of Chevrolet, with whom he won the World Touring Car Championship. So Rob Huff in second place in the Ford Mondeo. He was really enthusiastic about these Super Touring cars. He came into the Touring Car Championship in the 21st century, so he never really had the chance to drive one of these cars. We've got a bit of more mayhem on this opening lap. Is that 1 or 2 BMWs? It's 2 BMWs, isn't it? I think that's got involved there. But anyway, already they are round at Copse Corner on this opening lap. So and a bit of a wobble there for Stuart White, goes wide as he comes through Copse Corner, goes very wide. And is he going to lose him any places? Possibly it is. But the first two together
Yeah, almost. A couple of lengths between them. Stuart White has held on to third position, but only just. Daniel Wheeler in the Nissan Primera has made a good start to the race. Then you've got Neil Smith, who's having a real battle with Simon Garrard for sixth position. Garrard's gone through Beckett, so Simon Garrard in the green Renault Williams Laguna, which went really well to fourth place yesterday, ahead of Neil Smith's Alpha.
And it's Patrick Watts in amongst them. I don't think he is he? Patrick Watts in the Peugeot, which retired from yesterday's race, and he's not in this one. We got the Renault Laguna there, and a challenge there, and Simon Garrard goes through. So Simon Garrard gets ahead of the fast-starting Nissan Primera, but up at the front of the field, how close can Rob Huff get to James Dodd? Who come, very wide there, James Dodd, as he Stuart White. I'm sorry, Stuart White, James Dodd, and Rob Huff are getting well clear of anybody else. We've got the Triumph Dolomite Sprint parked on the inside here. Has that produced a yellow flag? No, it's not regarded as necessary. So we've got the Dolomite Sprint, the ex-Jerry Marshall car, parked on the inside. That's a touring car from the 1970s, of course. Leaders back with you, Chris.
Yeah, and as you say, a long way clear already at the start of lap number 2. So it's the number 3 Honda of James Dodd that leads the way. The rear windscreens, not the numbers on the cars necessarily, they're in period. Then you've got Rob Huff in second position. Then you've got Stuart White third. Then it's Garrard fourth, Wheeler in fifth position, Neil Smith in sixth place, and coming back at him now is the driver that got into trouble at the start of the race and who entertained us so royally yesterday, John Cleland in the Vectra.
Yes, he's in eighth place at the start of this lap behind Graham Dodd. So nose to tail through Luffield for the second time. Yesterday's race we got through 9 laps, and it's probably going to be the same today as long as we don't have any incidents of safety cars. So 1 or 2 cars left abandoned at the side of the circuit, include the Triumph Dolomite Sprinters. The leaders come up to the National Pit Straight for the second time. James Dodd, who's really confined all his racing to historics of one sort or another, as his father Graham Dodd has been an enthusiastic competitor in historic racing for 15-20 years. Yeah.
Challenge for the lead through Maggots, and he's gone through. Rob Huff into first position. He got a great run coming out through Copse, so it's the Ford that leads into first position for Rob Huff, down to second for Dodd. He made the move start up at Copse, but he made it happen with a tight run down into Maggots corner. So great drive there from Rob Huff, who now leads.
But James Dodd is coming back at him and is right up behind the Mondeo as the two of them come down towards Stowe corner. It's still, however, Rob Huff holding on to this lead he's just taken through Stowe into Vale, and Rob now will put the hammer down and pull away in the Ford Mondeo. Not sure Rob has ever raced a Ford before, and he is in the Mondeo, coming across the line in the lead by not very much at all, but well clear of third place Stuart White. But James Dodd has raised his game today to ensure that he can match the pace of the World Touring Car Champion. So it's come on the screen as Richard Mines, but obviously it's not Richard Mines who's in the car. This is Rob Huff and Chris.
James Dodd tries to fight back, doesn't he, into Village corner. So rather than Huff getting away with it, Dudley's hanging on to him in the Honda and glued the tail of the knee race leader as they come out through Aintree and onto the Wellington straight. Now he's got a slightly better run as well, and he'll pick up a toe towards Brooklands.
He will indeed. He's right on the tail of the Mondeo, but Rob moves across to defend the inside line into the left-hander at Brooklands. So James says, all right, I'll go around the outside then, suit yourself. But it doesn't work. So it's the Mondeo that's still just ahead of the Honda, which has to take the high, wide line. Both these cars are from the West Surrey Racing Stable, of course, because they ran the Mondeos and then they subsequently ran the Honda. And it is the Mondeo that's ahead at the moment. Stuart White is third. John Cleland up to 6th place now. His next aim is to catch and pass Dan Wheeler's Nissan, number 10.
I think he's 4th, actually.
Oh, okay, he's done that already.
He did it through the loop, so I think the Scotsman, I reckon, is 4th now.
Right, so that puts John Cleland in 4th place, ahead of Simon Garrard, but 5.5 seconds behind Stuart White.
He just coming into Beckett's. Huff still ahead of Dodd. Stuart White on his own in 3rd place. Really tight between the top two as they work their way through Beckett's. It is still just about, in fact, Garrard's got back into 4th, but Cleland right back with him as they come through Beckett's and into Beckett's. And this is where John Cleland was pulling off some moves yesterday into Beckett's complex through the second part. He's done exactly the same thing again up the inside of the Renault, and he gets 4th place.
Back. Yeah. And a challenge around the outside through Stoke corner there by James Dodd. They're level as they come out of the corner into Vale, but the Mondeo just stays ahead. So Rob Huff having to call upon all his skill and experience to keep James Dodd behind him. And there we have the number 87 car that has, well, this is 87, is it? Or the trouble, a lot of these cars are running with period numbers on. The numbers that matter, the yellow numbers on the top of the windscreen and on the rear side windows. They're the ones that tally with the ones in the programme. Leaders back with you for the 4th time, Chris.
Yeah, and James Dodd making a real race of this, isn't he?
Yeah.
Since he lost the lead, he's absolutely harassed and harangued Rob Huff. And if they keep fighting each other, Stuart White might fancy his chances of closing the gap back to them as well, possibly. He's got a big gap back then to this battle for 4th, which is now Cleland pulling clear of Garrard. Garrard, though, with them queuing up behind him.
And making progress, Dave Jarman has moved up ahead of Graham Dodd, up into 8th place now, number 70. And another attempt round the outside, but Rob Huff, he hasn't been racing touring cars for as long as he has without knowing a way at the top level, without knowing a way of hanging on to his position. And so he's forcing always James Dodd, totally fairly, but James has to take the different line, not the right line through any given corner. And in fact, that time through Brooklands and Lovefield, it's enabled Rob to open up a small advantage, like what, a length and a half, 2 lengths perhaps, as they go past the pits and head now into Copse Corner. So the lead held by 68 Rob Huff in the Ford Mondeo. 2nd by James Dodd, 3rd is Stuart White, number 1, 4th is John Cleland, number 98, and in 5th place is number 37 Simon Garrett, 6th is Dan Wheeler, number 10, 7th is number 2 Neil Smith in the Alpha, 8th number 70 Dave Jarman, 9th number 4 Graham Dodd, and 10th number 14 Rick Woods Honda Accord. Leaders are past you, sorry, they're now on Hanger Straight. I think James Dodd once more on terms with Rob Huff as they come into the right-hander at Stoke Corner. Rob Huff, one of the world's top touring car drivers, and really having to work very, very hard here to keep the Honda behind him. But I think it's fair to say the Honda is the quicker car, but James Dodd doing a great job with it to stay with Rob Huff, who completes 4 laps, which means we should have another 5 to go, 11 minutes on the clock. Cars coming up past the pits. Stuart White today not really in touch with James Dodd. Cars coming back into your sight, Chris, for the 5th time.
Yeah, they sweep through Farm Curve, and Ford still with its nose in front. Rob Huff having to keep an eye on the mirrors, though, into Village Corner. James Dodd is very quick under braking there. It's a target to aim for, of course, but Rob hasn't, as you said, given him many opportunities, and every time James does maybe get half a chance, then Rob just subtly closes the door, doesn't he? But they come now out of Aintree. James Dodd is very quick at this part of the circuit, and he might be lining one up again at Brooklands, but it might have to be around the outside.
It will have to be around the outside. He can break later and deeper into the corner and perhaps hang on around the outside. He does so. What's going to happen when they get to Lovefield? James Dodd has a chance here. Has he? Rob Huff, though, hangs on and just about makes it. No, he doesn't. Or does he? Yes, he does. He just about makes it to the corner, but it was a bit of an iffy moment as far as Rob Huff's lead was concerned there, but he's still got it as he comes out of the corner. And there's one of the Nissans wandering off the circuit. It's the number 10 car, that's Dan Wheeler, isn't it? So Dan Wheeler, who made that great start to the race, now has dropped well down, several places down the order anyway. Leaders then into Copse Corner. James Dodd absolutely not giving up. Yes, I'm afraid Dan Wheeler is parking it here down at Abbey as the leaders come back into your sight, Chris.
They do, yeah. This time, though, it's Huff with a couple of lengths advantage. It seems like Huff's got the advantage through Copse, but I'm sure through Beckett's, then Dodd will bring that gap back down. Stuart White, number 1. He's only in 3rd place, all alone now, going into Beckett's corner, and only up at Copse is the 4th place car. So I think there's a good battle going on between Garrard and Neil Smith in the Alpha now. So the Renault Laguna and the Alpha separated by just under a car length as they go down towards Beckett's.
That's so yes, in 5th place Simon Garrett, 5th. In 6th place is Neil Smith, and that gives you an idea of the gap between the top 2 and the pursuers. And there's the Renault Laguna Alpha battle we've been talking about. Simon Garrett in the Alpha in 5th place and right on his tail, and diving for the inside there, Neil Smith, and he's going to gain the place, is he? Yes, on the inside. Number 2 Neil Smith goes through and in the ex-Stefano Modena car goes through and takes 5th place from Simon Garrett. leaders have gone through 0.6 of a second apart. They're probably with you, Chris.
They are, and with a back marker splitting them now as well. So Huff got past the slower car, and Dodd failed to do that at Village. He does it now going into the loop. Give a tiny bit of breathing space to Huff, not a great deal, but go on to the Wellington stroke with a couple of lengths advantage. So Dodd, who has been right behind him a couple of times at that point of the circuit, too far back this time to launch an attack at Brooklands.
Right, that's last time around, James did his best lap, his personal best lap, but he wasn't quite as quick as Rob, who wasn't on his best lap. He's in the 2:11, 2:11.7 is his fastest lap. The Alfa Renault battle continues.
Yeah, that comes past me, 5th and 6th, the Neil Smith car, number 2. I mean, got ahead of the Renault of Garrard. Garrard, though, coming back at him as they head up the straight.
Just listen to the musical sound of the Ford Cologne Capri, just going past the V6 Capri with the GA Cosworth engine, and the 47 in 18th place at the moment. John Young leading the class in that Capri. Going nicely in 11th place, Craig Davis in the number 15 Ford Sierra Cosworth, leading his class, as I say, in 11th place. So Rob Huff, and just ahead of what you can see on the screen there, you can see the Vectra of John Cleland in 4th place, but he's 11 seconds adrift of Stuart White, so I think a place on the podium is not going to be achievable for John today, unlike yesterday.
Yeah, I think so, but some good moves he's pulled off this weekend.
Yes.
It's great to see him still, with all the tenacity that he always had to get those 2 titles. Still this really tight battle for 5th as well between the Alfa and the Laguna. Garrard will not let Neil Smith out of his sights.
No, yesterday Neil Smith was in 5th place and Simon Garrett in 4th place. They crossed the line with quite a gap between them, I think I'm right in saying. No, not that much of a gap actually. So today it might be the reverse order. And yes, Patrick Watts in 8th place, number 12 there, going for the inside and possibly getting a place at the expense of Graham Dodd, is he? 7th place. No, Graham Dodd still has it, just about. Patrick Watts in the Peugeot right behind as they turn through Club Corner. So Patrick Watts, who started near the back of the grid, in fact, on the 16th row after retiring from the race yesterday, has done extremely well to get into the top 10 in 8th place. Patrick Watts with the number 12 Peugeot. Alfa Renault battle continues side by side.
James Dodd was having another luck around the outside of Rob up at Brooklands. If he's going to do it, it's going to be into Village Corner, I think. He's had 2 or 3 looks at the inside. He got halfway level with Rob Huff going into Village Corner last time around. So he's definitely got a bit more speed at that part of the circuit, and he got a good run up to Brooklands again. But once again, Rob defended the inside line there. So he'll still be in the lead in the Ford.
Now, Neil Smith has kind of lost out in this, and Patrick Watts is passing him now. Neil Smith, who was ahead of Simon Garrett, has not only dropped behind Simon Garrett, he's also fallen behind Graham Dodd, and now behind Patrick Watts as well. So Patrick Watts is heading for a top 6 position, which, considering where he started on the grid, it's been a considerable performance this by Patrick. I know he was a works touring car driver in the 1990s, but nonetheless he's had to work extremely hard to get to where he is in the race at the moment, with the prospect of a couple more places still to come. Shades of what we saw in the Formula 1 race with Steve Hartley, albeit with a roof over your head and at rather slower speeds. So at the moment then, heading towards you, or heading towards Cobb's Club start again, Stowe Corner, Rob Huff with around the outside of him again, James Dodd trying to make the move to get into the lead, but he's running out of laps. But what about that fight going on behind? Patrick Watts progressing through it. Chris?
Yeah, it's still Garrard at the head of that group for the time being. Patrick Watts is pulling away from the Neil Smith Alfa though, and he's 3rd in that group of 4 going on to Hanger Straight, while James Dodd continuing to try and hang on to the race leader Rob Huff.
Warning flag for Harry Whale about track limits, car 66, who's been taking over today from his father Nick, who drove the car yesterday. Slapping there the Mark 1 Escort. Got touring cars covering a wide spectrum here. And into the loop, you've got the leader.
Yeah, not as close this time.
No.
James Dodd not anywhere near as close as he was on the previous lap. So Rob Huff will have an easier run this time up towards Brooklands.
But I don't think James Dodd's given up by any means. We're only getting towards the end of the race. This is lap 8 of what will probably be 9 laps. And this is it. And running wide there and breaking himself a little bit there. Graham Dodd, James's father, in the number 4 Nissan. And the net result of all that, Chris.
So Patrick Watts gains a place, yeah. Patrick saw that coming, didn't he? And yeah, just trying to get onto the tail of Garrard, and in the end, it cost him a place. So Garrard 5th, Patrick Watts up to 6th then, Graham Dodd 7th. Neil Smith really falling away from them now in 8th in the Alpha.
Yes, the Alpha seems to have wilted a little. And this is all over the places behind John Clennon, who's still a solid 4th in the Vauxhall Vectra. Car that is, was restored and is race prepared by his son Jamie Clennon. But that group of cars making its way through Woodcote, ahead of them of course, and not, well, probably with you already back at Beckett's are the 2 leaders.
Already gone. Yeah, down through Hanger. Yeah, they are a long way ahead. Into Beckett's now goes the 3rd place car of number 1 Stuart White. And then Clennon coming into Baggett's, and then this battle for 5th place coming out of Cops Corner now. Patrick Watts has got a good run. He's quite close enough, I think, to have a go at Baggett's, but he thought about it for a moment or two. He closes up under braking once more onto the tail of the Laguna, and the Peugeot takes a wider line, a wider entry to try and cut back on the exit and to get the better run out onto the Hanger Straight.
Which he has done. And so he's level with Simon Garrett, nearly level with Simon Garrett, but it's still the Renault Laguna ahead of the Peugeot 406. They head down Hanger Straight to Stowe Corner. And the leaders have just gone past me at Abbey. That's an enormous, it's half a lap lead that the 2 cars have over this fight for 5th place. And this is the last lap probably, sorry I wasn't checking the clock, it's going to be marginal. They make just about squeeze in one more lap after this one as the line of cars comes through for 5th place, still headed by the Renault Laguna, but it runs wide. Simon Garrett, that gives Patrick Watts the chance on the inside line now as they come up towards Abbey. Is he going to be close enough? No, the Renault hangs on in front. The car, the Nescafe Blend 37 car, stays just ahead, and Graham Dodd is coming back at Patrick Watts. Graham Dodd, level there. Chris?
Yes, yeah, and trying to go around the outside, which he's going to do. Terrific move that from Graham Dodd. And we had Garrard on the grass as well, coming out of farm, which helped. Garrard now tries to fight back around the outside of the loop. He's going to go the long range round here. Dodd closes the door. Patrick Watts goes up the inside, 3 abreast almost. Patrick Watts will have the better momentum going on to the Wellington Straight. He'll also have the inside line, and the corner should be his when we get to Brooklands.
I'll tell you what, you can tell they own their own cars, can't you? It's not like it was their works drivers, because they'd be clattering into each other. But they keep doing the best they can to avoid exchanging wing mirrors, and Patrick Watts, as a result, has moved ahead of Graham Dodd, with Simon Garrett down a couple of places, but it's very apparent that the pushing and shoving that goes on in these cars in their heyday isn't happening. They're having great racing, but without the banging and pushing and shoving. We just, what was that getting out of shape with you, Chris?
Yeah, that was the 53 car of Hazel coming out on the loop, but leaders are already, I think, down probably at Stowe Corner, and Rob Huff still had a bit of an advantage as Graham Dodd just fends off another attack from Garrard going into Maggots.
And it's Neil Smith back in the picture as well with the Alpha.
Yeah, he's suddenly caught up again.
Right, so the leader's over the line with 6 seconds on the clock, so we've got another lap as they come up now towards Abbey. So by 6 seconds, there's one more lap in this race. They're on their 10th lap, which is one more lap than they managed yesterday, because Rob Huff's arrival on the scene has certainly upped the pace. We've got the scrap going on for 5th place coming into Stowe Corner at the moment. There's the Nescafe Renault. And it currently, well, wherever it is at the moment, doesn't really matter. It's where it's going to end up the end of the, not this lap, but the next one. Patrick Watts in 5th place. He and John Clennon had some fun games this year. They shared a win apiece on Thruxton at the start of the year, the first round of this championship. But as they come up past the pits now, with the Mark 1 Escort getting the blue flag to keep it out of the way. The number 40 car of Michael Bell. The fight is back with you.
Yeah. And Graham Dodd having another look at the inside. He's done the outside and the inside into that corner, but Garrard was able to fend him off this time. So Patrick Watts at the head of that group in 5th place, then Graham Dodd, then Garrard, sorry, Neil Smith was having to go the inside that time, the Alpha, to try and gain a place back. Meanwhile, at a Copse Corner, final time, comes the race leader, and Rob Huff I think has got this one sorted now. And the lap before that, James Dodd got pretty close to him again going up at Brooklands, but that seems to be the only place where he's been really close to the tail of Rob Huff. Through Beckett's for the final time they go.
Yes, he's certainly never given up trying, James Dodd, but it rather does look as though the win today is going to go to the professional touring car star, the former world champion. Rob Huff in the Ford Mondeo will emerge as the winner, subject to the negotiating the last couple of corners, okay. And here they come then, across the line, and sorry, not quite across the line yet. Here they come into Club Corner. So Rob Huff wins from, in second place, James Dodd. The winning margin, 0.6 of a second, but that's really academic, I think, probably on the last time. But a spin there by Simon Garrett, the Nescafe Blend 37 Brennan Laguna spinning there. And is that with you, Chris?
That's just at Beckett's, yeah, and the reason was they all came to a back marker in the middle of Beckett's, and Neil Smith was able to get past, well, obviously Garrard, and he got another place as well, because he was at the back of the queue, and he got the better run. Everybody else was delayed by the back marker, and the spin at Beckett's for Garrard, yeah, a real shame after a good weekend for him.
It has been, you're right. Stuart White's just taken the flag in third place, running very wide as he did so, and there was a Rover. Didn't get a chance to mention many of the other interesting cars in that race. It really was rather like that parade of Grand Prix cars that we had at lunchtime. This race has offered a whole wide spectrum of touring car eras, although principally the super touring era at the front of the field, obviously. John Clennon has taken the flag in fourth place, 10 seconds behind fellow Scott Stuart White. In fifth place, Patrick Watson, the Peugeot. Sixth, Graham Dodd, number 4, Nissan. Seventh, number 2, the Alfa of Neil Smith. Eighth, number 70, Dave Jarman. And disappointed Simon Garrett has crossed the line in 9th place after falling foul of that back marker. And in 10th place, number 7, the Paul Smith Audi A4. And behind him, winning his class, number 63, Andy Wolf in the Opel Belmont. Craig Davis wins his class in the Ford Sierra RS 500. And what about John Young? Yes, he's going to win his class, as Steve Soper did yesterday in the Ford Capri, which is just singing its very melodic sound past us at the moment. And we never really got a chance to see. That's the car that Colin Turkington drove yesterday. You can see on the screen the BMW CSL number 93. Driven today by Sam Hancock, and it is, because it's a 1970s car, this you'd expect it to be up near the front. Finish in something like 14th place. And we have got a chance to see what Chris has already described, but we can see it on the screen at Beckett's. Here they come into Beckett's then, and round that car on either side of it, and Simon Garrett's optimism of getting the grip on the outside line through the middle of Beckett's wasn't quite justified, and the car got away from him and spun off, and that cost him, instead of gaining a place, it cost him about 3 or 4 places, and he crossed the line ultimately in probably rather less than he deserved, down in 9th place after, as you say, Chris, a good weekend for him.
Well, I tell you what, touring cars never fail to excite, and that second Jet Super Touring Car Trophy race was truly brilliant, even if we just took the first 2 drivers. So let's welcome onto the podium our winner this afternoon, Rob Huff. Big round of applause. And I think tailing him straight up afterwards should be James Dodd, who was never more than a few car lengths behind. Great performance in the Honda Accord. And Stuart White up for 3rd place. Now that's a popular result. So we're delighted to have the backing of Jet, and if I could welcome to make the presentations Graham Clout, the Group Dealer Manager. Graham, please step up and start with the award to Stuart White for 3rd place. Well done, Stuart. And moving across, and the 2nd place trophy to James Dodd, who really kept Rob Huff very, very honest indeed. And now the Garland first, if you would, Graham, to a man who is no stranger to Garlands. Rob Huff, multiple world touring car champion. Bottle of fizz from Hattingley Valley, English sparkling wine. And I must say, everyone loves these trophies given out this year at the Silverstone Classic, but not for drivers who don't make an effort, and that certainly was. Thank you very much, Graham. Now, Rob, that was a good afternoon's work out here at Silverstone.
Yeah, that was tough. Really, I think it came down to the start, really, and just managed to get a really good rolling start, got past quite a few cars around the outside, and I arrived at turn 3 with these two in front of me, and I think I just got up the inside at turn 3, and then he put up a hell of a fight. It was great. It was hard work. You can see I worked hard for that. Car's got no power steering, but Mardi Gras did a great job to prep the car and get it ready, and just a great touring car fight.
Well, it was what the crowd comes to see here. So, Rob, James, Stuart, great job. Thank you for entertaining us.
Yesterday, we brought you the celebrity race from 2012. In 2017, this race was resurrected with a slightly updated format. It was wet, it was challenging, and there were plenty of thrills and spills. Let's see how the celebs got on.
This year at the Silverstone Classic, we have a star-studded lineup battling it out in the Celebrity Challenge Trophy, raising money for Prostate Cancer UK. This was really for fun, but it's been quite a commitment for everyone involved.
So we had to start them off with their ARDS test, which all of them did here at Silverstone. It's a bit of a commitment.
I did my test a few weeks ago, and I found that really tough. I got travel sick, didn't want to tell anyone, thought the camera was going to get me throwing up over the instructor.
And then they come and sit a written test, which is a bit odd when you're a bit older. It's a bit like being back in a schoolroom. And then we take them out on track and spend a lot of time with them.
Look at the size of it. Have you ever seen those big slippers advertised in the back of a newspaper? That's exactly what it looks like, where you put both your feet in.
And so it's time for the Celebrity Challenge Trophy. And as I'm in this one, I better go and check out the opposition.
I've got some great drivers in my camp. Yeah,
And you.
A lot of pressure on you.
Amy, if you're brave enough to go head first down a toboggan run, this must be easy peasy for you.
Yeah, well, this is the first ever car race, so I've only ever been in co-driving position.
Jason, you're about to make your world four-wheel racing debut. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty excited. A bit nervous. We get here at crack of dawn and then spend all day getting nervous before we race.
And we are the Screen Stars team.
Dream team, I think I'd like to think.
Well, we've got Mike Wedderburn, fellow presenter, and Carl Froch. So he's used to high-level competition. We did have Johnny Nelson, another former boxer, but he didn't pass his test.
Do you think we're going to win?
Do you know what? We stand a really good chance. If you look at the team selection, we've got two really good drivers.
Who are they?
Theo and Blundell.
Theo. We've got Theo. Howard, you're about to make your world motorsport debut. Yes. How do you think it's going to go?
Obviously, I know this is so unprofessional. Look, it's Philip Glenister. Look.
For goodness sake.
Okay, hey, Phil.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, how are you?
He's being interviewed at the moment for ITV4 by Tiffany Dell, and he's very embarrassed that his phone's on, in fact, to be honest.
Brilliant. Well, I can call you.
Philip, it was nice to record your telephone conversation.
I'm very sorry, did it go out?
But what are you actually doing here? You're not volunteered to race, so you're not
No,
brave
they won't
enough.
allow me to race because obviously, you know, I'm of a standard where I'm a danger to society and racing generally. Every time I say the word fire up something. So I'm here to support you guys.
Steve Parrish, better known as Stavros, always one for a joke and humour in the paddock.
Yeah, I forgot to put my shirt on today, as you can see.
What about musical stuff? What's the next future for you?
I want to be a race driver and lose all my money.
The Celebrity Challenge Trophy. 5 teams with their combined results counting towards the win. Mainly for pride, but all raising money for the Prostate Cancer UK charity. And it was a tense time for our intrepid celebrities as they readied themselves for action as it started to rain. Steve Soper led the charge to the first corner ahead of Anthony Reid and Martin Donnelly. Tiffany Dell attacking the orange car of bike legend Wayne Gardner. Wayne clearly had no fear, launching around the outside of Mark Blundell and Martin Donnelly before running out of room. Tiff sat back and enjoyed the view. The damn track was proving tricky, even for our most experienced drivers. Jason Kenny was soon getting stuck in, the Olympic gold medalist in the thick of the action. There were cars spinning either side, but he kept his calm and aimed straight down the middle, gaining 2 spots. Carl Froch was soon on the ropes, spinning his tiny Austin. The track was becoming increasingly slippery. Even the team captains were having to fight their cars. Paula Chenoweth was clearly having a time of her life, even though she just spun out of the race. Unfortunately, it was all over too soon for Olympic rower Johnny Searle as well. And with cars starting to litter the track, the race had to be stopped. And after a quick clear-up, it was time to go again. Unfortunately for Greg Searle, his race ended in the pits. The rest were soon slithering back into action, and once again it was the captain of the Bike Legends team, Steve Soper, who held the lead. Yet again, Jason Kenny seemed to be right in the centre of the action. He'd clearly been listening to his instructors in training, finding his way beautifully around the damp Silverstone circuit. The team captains were starting to pull away. Wayne Gardner was just about hanging with them in the bright orange machine. Presenter Mike Wedderburn soon found himself facing the wrong way, and it wouldn't be the last time. Tiffany Dell had a challenge on his hands. Travis Trummer Neil Primrose has done a bit of racing, and it showed. Rower Mark Hunter more used to doing his races facing backwards, and that's how his race ended. Team captains Martin Donnelly and Anthony Reid jockeyed for second behind Soper, Mark Blundell right behind them, while it was becoming hard to tell if Mike Wedderburn was just fooling around and enjoying himself or becoming dizzy. He carried on spinning his way around Silverstone circuit. To be fair to Mike, he wasn't entirely alone though in overstepping the limits of adhesion. Even Carl Froch's fancy footwork couldn't save him. And Anthony Reid, a seasoned touring car pro, even he managed to overstep the mark. Jason Kenny's delicate touch was paying off, thanking every spinner for the places he picked up. Biker Legends captain Steve Soper was first to the checkered flag, but as it was a team competition where every person in the team finished would be part of the overall score. Jason Kenny came home a respectable 9th for the Going for Gold team. Theo Pavitas finally got his chance to have a relaxed drink. Most relaxed of all, though, were the car's owners who donated them for the celebs to race. Most of the owners would go in the race the next day. As for Mike Wedderburn, even after the race, not sure he's entirely certain where Silverstone goes.
Mike, an amazing race, but apparently you get the award for the most spins.
Yeah, I found that quite difficult, Tiff. Enjoyable now I got back, but actually I got lost on the way back. I went to the wrong pits. So the woman there said, "You're in the wrong place, mate." So I had to go through the infield, all the punters looking at me and waving, "All right, mate." And I was like, "Yeah, fine." So it took me quite a time to get back.
As the points were totted up, it was the Screen Stars who had the best combined results.
Theo, I might have questioned your sanity of going into partnership with Mark Blundell, but it worked today.
I always back winners. That's all I've got to say. And Billy, the plumber here, is an absolute winner. What a drive.
Proud of your team, though, including obviously, you know.
I'm very proud of my team, including you, Tiff. Yeah, Theo, the guys. Fortunate for Ant because he had a little bit of a mishap and rolled over, but he's okay. But I think all the guys did a great job, and honestly, the conditions were horrendous.
That trophy is ours.
this morning about some of the celebrations that have been held at the Classic over the years to celebrate marques and models, but there've also been a range of special celebrations designed to mark historic moments across motorsport as well. I'm joined now by Nick Wigley, the man behind the Silverstone Classic. Just tell us a bit more about these, Nick.
Well, when we're putting together the content for the Classic each year, we look at all the epic moments in our history, motorsport history, and we try to pay homage to them over the weekend of the event. So for instance, in 2016, we celebrated James Hunt's win, the 40th anniversary of his World Championship win. That was 1976. And his son, Freddie, and his team manager, Alistair Caldwell, joined us for the weekend. And we had a fantastic display of his cars in the pit garage for people to come and look at and enjoy. In 2018, we were joined by Mark Webber, Karen Chanduk, Susie Wolf, and of course, Murray Walker, that golden voice on our media day. And one of our celebrations that year was 70 years of Formula One and the first Grand Prix ever being at Silverstone. They were filming for Channel 4 for their F1 coverage. And as part of that, they took to the track with a trio of our super race cars, period race cars, which still race at the Classic. And we marked that anniversary with a parade of well over 70 Formula One cars from across the ages. And then just last year, Sir Jackie Stewart spent the weekend with us to celebrate the 50th anniversary of his first win at Silverstone in '69, which then of course led to his first championship win. He took to the track in his beautiful Matra MS80 for some demo laps, and I really felt it was just incredible to have him there and for us to be able to celebrate it at the Classic. I mean, there have been so many phenomenal moments over the last 30 years to celebrate. I think we're just really lucky, and there's nothing more than we love than a good birthday or an anniversary bash.
This year marks the 40th anniversary of the late James Hunt winning the Formula One world title. To celebrate that now legendary season when he battled Niki Lauda for the '76 crown, there was a wonderful display of some of James's racing cars, conjuring memories of this colourful character.
The season was an amazing thing. It was just so, every race there was some kind of drama, and the daily newspapers got involved. And it was the hottest summer for many, many years. The summer of '76 was red hot, and in more ways than one. And every Grand Prix there was some kind of major incident. Didn't matter what it was. James's wife ran off with Richard Burton, and that caused huge furore in the papers. We got the car was too wide in the Spanish Grand Prix, so we got disqualified. Then we got reinstated. Niki crashed at the Nürburgring, and after a few races came back again at Monza. But I loved it. I loved every minute of it because I was in total charge and I made all the major decisions all the time. And in the end, it worked out.
Well, I was lucky to meet him a few times. My father was involved in motor racing, and James used to be sponsored by Gowrings, which was a Ford agency in Reading where we lived. So James used to come along and do a bit of promotional work at Gowrings in Reading, and my dad knew him, and we'd go along and say hello. And I remember once rather embarrassingly putting his helmet on at one of these events, and my dad giving me a bollocking, telling me to get it off. So he was a pretty serious racer underneath it all. He liked to have a good time, but he was a very serious racer, and you know, the sort that can't exist anymore, quite honestly, with the pressures and commercialization of Formula One. I don't think a James Hunt type character can really exist anymore.
40 years ago, I wasn't even thought about. Mum hadn't even met Dad in 1976. No, I mean, I was so small when he died. It's, you know, only 5 years old. I don't even remember one conversation about motorsport. Well, all of my knowledge of my father has been from, you know, from stories from friends and family and the media. This lady said she was at Sunningdale Golf Course, and their car had broken down, and Dad came out and they said, oh, he should know what's going on. And Dad opened the bonnet and said, I haven't got a clue, but I'll buy you a cup of tea until the AA arrive.
Silverstone first opened its gates as a racetrack back in 1948, making this its 70th anniversary. A race was held that year for Grand Prix cars and won by Luigi Villaresi in a Maserati. 2 years later, the first ever round of the World Formula One Championship, as we know it today, was held right here. And the rest, as they say, is history. Jeremy, what can you tell us about the Royal Automobile Club's role in organising the British Grand Prix?
If you go back to the involvement which the club had in putting the Grand Prix together in 1948 was immense. After the war, there wasn't much appetite to, I suppose, build a purpose-built circuit, and so we went back to Brooklands, we went back to Donington, we went back to Crystal Palace, and none of them were in great shape. And so we found Silverstone, and 2.5 months later, the gates opened. 100,000 people came to the Grand Prix. In fact, there was lots of chaos because the perimeter roads weren't secure. Not only were people coming through the fences, but so many people came through the gates, there wasn't enough people to take the money. And those days, it was 30 shillings.
John, we're at the Silverstone Classic, celebrating 70 years of this great track, and one that has very, very fond memories for you.
Well, 70 years. I was 2 years old when the first Formula One race, first motor race, actually took place here at Silverstone. I was very lucky, Tiff. You know, very few British drivers get to win their home Grand Prix, and I was the recipient of that award in 1981. So it holds very precious memories for me as a Grand Prix driver. But here this weekend, the reason I'm here is because I've got a 46-year-old girlfriend who's motor racing nuts. She dragged me along to Silverstone Classic, and I have to say I'm delighted because it's a fantastic weekend.
It's just a very relaxed atmosphere. You can go out, you can see the cars, you can enjoy them. For families that come along, then they can have a great day out. To me, they're things of beauty, but people still go out and use them and enjoy them, and therefore people who aren't owners can also come along and hopefully get joy from seeing them in the paddock and out racing.
A historic venue, incredible collection of cars, real passion, real enthusiasm. I think it's hit myself straight between the eyes today how much passion is really here.
1969 was an important year in the career of Sir Jackie Stewart. After 4 years trying to win the British Grand Prix, he finally achieved that goal on his 5th attempt here at Silverstone. And it paved the way to the first of his 3 Formula One world titles.
To win your own Grand Prix is a big deal. I mean, if you haven't won your own Grand Prix, then your CV isn't complete. To win it at Silverstone particularly, I was a big fan of Silverstone because it's such a high-speed circuit. To do it in this car was kind of special, and the race was extremely unusual in that it was so close between Jochen and I.
Well, I was sitting in the grandstand at Woodcote myself, watching it go. It was one of the most entertaining races ever, and very exciting from the cockpit, I'm sure.
Woodcote in those days was a fantastic corner. It was about 153 miles an hour around there. You really had, it was supposed to be flat, but flutters maybe more appropriate. But, you know, Silverstone's the home of British motorsport in the modern world, so to be back again is just very nice indeed.
What was it like driving the car again at this weekend?
It's a car that hasn't changed much. The owners kept it original. You know, I don't want to go into the end of Hanger straight into Stoke Corner very quickly anymore because I don't know whether the brakes are still there after 50 years. But no, it's a pleasure to drive it. It was a fairly long wheelbase car. It was a nice car to drive. So no, I enjoyed it very much. And of course it brought me the World Championship as well, which wasn't all bad.
Serious side to the Classic this weekend as everyone was asked to help raise awareness of dementia, something that's become very personal for Sir Jackie Stewart.
Helen, my wife, has been identified as having dementia, which is a terrible illness which a lot of people in Britain know about. It's an illness that there is no cure or no preventive medicine for, so we're starting a charity called Race Against Dementia. We're trying to break down the sort of barrier that's been there for over 30 years without success. And we're going to use Formula One as an example because the problem solving in Formula One's faster than probably any other business in the world today.
Tiff, with a lot of guidance from Sir Jackie, eventually managed to set a time on the Alzheimer's Research UK simulator. The public then challenged to see if they could beat his time. Possibly not the hardest task ever.
Earlier this year, we lost an absolute legend of our sport when Sir Sterling Moss sadly passed away. Sir Sterling was a great supporter of the Classic over the years, wasn't he, Nick?
Yeah, we were very lucky that Sir Sterling and his lovely lady wife Susie came and joined in so much of the fun and so many of the celebrations that we had at the Classic over the years. He was a great supporter of the event. I was lucky enough to talk to him on many occasions and even to be in the same races as him in later years. It was fantastic to have him join us. He was really a complete and utter legend, and I think we're all really going to miss him.
Ian, Sterling Moss stands out as one of the greatest drivers of all, despite the fact that he never won a Grand Prix championship. What do you think made him so special?
A combination of various characteristics, a sense of balance, which was, I think, probably something he learnt when he was horse riding as a child, a fantastic eyesight, amazing concentration, incredible racing intelligence, competitiveness, determination, and you put all that together with good manners as well. I mean, there was nothing grumpy ever about Sterling. He was just such a very, very amiable person, but incredibly determined, incredibly competitive. And in any aspect of racing, he wanted to win. There's only one driver who gets anywhere near him, and I think is getting up towards being level with him. That's Lewis Hamilton, who has a lot of the same characteristics. And having seen, well, I'm old enough, Louise, to have seen Sterling race quite a few times. And I tell you that Lewis Hamilton is the nearest you've got to Sterling Moss. They're not the same, but they've got a lot of similar characteristics. And all the great drivers in between, I don't think come near to those two, other than Senna, Ayrton Senna.
Well, let's just take a moment to reflect and pay tribute to the great man and the many great times he spent with us at the Classic.
Gentlemen, this is the most amazing opportunity. Sir Sterling, it's wonderful for you to be sitting here at the head of such an amazing field.
I think it amazes me more than anything else is the value of this field. When you realise these sort of cars are worth £5 or £10 million each, so there's a lot of bread out here.
You've had a seat fitting. You ready for this?
I hope so. I hope so. I know where the brake is and those sort of things. And thank God it's got a right-hand accelerator.
Yes, of course, because that could be a bit of a confusion, couldn't it?
I'll tell you, it's easy to drive the central accelerator, but when anything goes wrong, boy, you tread on the wrong pedal. Yeah.
And it's lovely to see you and David having a chat here.
Well, it's the first time we've had a chance to actually be racing. Not, I won't say racing together, but in two racing cars together, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I chased this old man for thousands of miles around the world.
I think he did a bit of chasing as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was a bit half and half, you know. But we had a great time, I can tell you. Fantastic.
And David, this last year for you has been an emotional roller coaster. You're going to be sitting alongside at Silverstone, alongside Sir Sterling Moss.
Well, that's quite emotional in its own, isn't it? I mean, to be sitting here next to a legend like Sterling and obviously the battles that Sterling and my dad had, and they also won races together as well. You know what I mean? So, from a family point of view, extremely special, and to see all these wonderful cars behind us is incredible. And thank you to everyone that has participated in this event. It's just going to be very memorable for a long time.
One thing's for sure, this is going to be emotional, Sterling.
Very emotional, because it brings back so many happy memories, you know, and what is so great as well is the way the public can come in, get around, speak to the people with the cars, and a great day out for their families as well.
Well, have a very enjoyable trip around the circuit. It's fantastic to have you both here.
Thank you. We're not going to try and beat each other. We'll go around hand in hand.
Super to see them both. David Brabham and, of course, Sir Sterling Moss here at the Silverstone Classic.
A true motorsport legend and much missed. Nick, this has been a difficult year for people in all sorts of ways. Cancelling the Classic wasn't an easy decision, but as we look to better times in 2021, what can we anticipate for next summer's Classic?
Well, as I said earlier on, the team have been working really, really hard to make sure that next year's event ends up being the bumper event that we hoped this year's was going to be. It was going to be the 30th anniversary. Well, we're going to celebrate the 30th anniversary next year, but we're going to add on some more anniversaries as well. So I think we're certainly going to be very, very rich in content, and I and all the team are really, really looking forward to welcoming all our enthusiasts back there in 2021.
Well, although we haven't been able to bring you the Classic this summer, we hope that you've enjoyed seeing some highlights that celebrate the last 30 years. And thank you if you're one of the many people who told us what content you wanted to see this weekend.
We tried to factor in as many of your requests as we possibly could without clashing with the F1 events this weekend, and we really hope you've enjoyed our online celebrations. We look forward to seeing you at Silverstone next summer, when we'll be able to party together again properly, Classic style. The dates for your diary are the 30th of July to the 1st of August. Until then, stay safe.